Welcome, everybody, to another wonderful episodes of Table Crashers. We're here at episode 34, and we have Keith Matejka with us. Keith, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, guy?
It's going great. It's going great. So first off, I'll get into what we're here to talk about, but I'm a huge role player fan. So thanks for making that. It's like it's a great mix of fantasy and competition. So it's actually brought a lot of fun times at the table with my family and friends. So, but the game we're here for today is Lockup.
Right. Lockup, a role player tale. So
a role, colon a role play tale. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
So Lockup kind of takes place in the world of role player. So like when I first designed role player, it wasn't like it had a world, but like as I've continued to develop more games, it's like the world has been kind of evolving. Mm-hmm. So this is the first kind of step into like the world building element. And it's like another fantasy game in this world. So the concept of the game is like it takes place in this prison facility. It's like King Taron has like rounded up all the bad guys after this war and thrown them into this prison, and you play as a group of these bad guys. So you are like one of the minions from Monsters and Minions, if you're familiar with the role player expansion.
Yes.
So you're either the bugbears or the goblins or the insectoids or the other two, gnolls and something else I can't remember.
Whatever else on the design, yeah.
Some other word and art that I did. But so yeah, you play this group of them, and you're doing, it's basically like a worker placement / kind of bluffing game in these different in this prison where you're trying to have the best reputation by the end. Best being kind of the toughest crew. So you can like hire more goons to your crew, and you can build contraband items, and you collect resources, which are like that you can trade and do stuff with. And then the story is that after 6 weeks, like the king is going to come and like say who's the toughest. You get to go like fight for your freedom, and it's like what's called the Coliseum of Ashes. So that's kind of stuff you'll hear more about if you follow the role player stuff down the road. But
so now you know what? You see, you did that. You opened this door here. You had to do that. You had to throw a little tease in there,
right? Yeah.
The arena of ashes. Do you want to? Yeah. Okay, so we were actually thinking before stream tonight. Second game in the role player universe. Could this be the last one? I don't know.
No, of course not. Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Actually, it's the Coliseum of Ashes, but
okay.
So I'm opening up the door about this game called Role Player Adventures, which is this title I've been working on for a long time that making good progress on, but it's a really big game, so it's taking a long time.
Of course.
And it's like a narrative paragraph / map move around game. A little bit of near and far in there, but it's a cooperative game where you get to kind of import your character from role player and go on these kind of adventures with. And it takes the place over multiple modules or adventures, and one of them is called the Coliseum of Ashes, which people might be fighting for the freedom there. Maybe, perhaps, mayhap, right?
Mayhaps. Great.
So that's that. But in this game, the constructs, which were like the robot race from role player Monsters and Minions, are like the guards in this prison, and there you're always kind of like trying to. A big part of this game is managing your suspicion with the guards. So like depending on where you go, you're gonna get you could potentially get suspicion unless your lookout is making sure that doesn't happen, and if you get too much suspicion, a raid occurs and bad things happen. So
we'll see a ton of that when we get to crash the table here. I actually had a really quick question. The designer is somebody that you met obviously through maybe convention tour or through conversation. Do you want to sort of talk about the designer? You had a really great write up on the Kickstarter about the designer.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about him.
Stan Kordonsky. I live in Madison, Wisconsin, and he lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're like an hour and a half or so away from each other. He showed me this game at a Protospiel event, which is like where designers get together and they rip each other's games apart, and which are super cathartic, and I love them. And he showed it to me there, and I was interested in Minion Games was also interested in the game. I was super excited about it. And so actually Minion got the first shot at it. They looked at it for like a couple months, and then they ended up passing on it, and then I picked it up, and Stan and I worked on it for about a year doing development on it, and then did a second round of development at the end. So I would say, this game has been it's probably the most development that I've ever done on a game that I've brought in. So the first game I published that I didn't design was a small dexterity game called Blend Off, which is pretty simple. So there's not a whole lot of development really to do on that one. Right. And then the second one was this game called Dual Powers Revolution 1917, which we did about 9 months of development on it. And then this one, we were working on it for about a year. So it's been through a lot of iterations, and some of the concerns that like the Minion Games guys were concerned about, like we figured all that stuff out and took the time to make it super polished. So, yeah, there was a moment when we were working on it. It's like, hey, it's kind of a generic fantasy. It used to be just kind of a fantasy prison. We're like, well, as all this role player stuff starts evolving, like, why aren't we connecting this, right? So, of course, like when you go, that other title I was talking about before, the Role Player Adventures game, one of those adventures takes place in Culbrook Prison, which this game takes place in, right? So there's there's Easter eggs on the board for this game that you don't know what they are, but if you ever, Role Player Adventures eventually comes out, you'll be like, oh, there's like this little piece was here in this other game that you made 2 years ago, So there's like forward-looking Easter eggs and all kinds of stuff. So one thing you brought up while you were talking about the design process of this and the designer, Minion Games shopped him originally and worked with it for a number of months. Could you elaborate on that? So for people who aren't really involved in the design process of your games, if you don't mind, what does that look like? So you get the news, hey, we're going to pick up your game, and then there's a development process, and then midway through that process, there's a chance that it might not work. No, it's more like Minion was evaluating it, right? So he said, hey, give me a copy of your prototype. I'll take it home, and I'll play test it with my crew a bunch of times, and then we'll make a decision whether to sign it and potentially give you some feedback. It's either like, hey, we want to sign it and develop it more in-house, or sign it and publish it as is. Or it turns into, this is cool, but I'd like to see these changes. Would you mind making them and resubmitting it? Or some people, will just say, thanks, but no thanks. Our plate is full, or it has too many similarities with other things we're working on, or whatever, whether it's a time thing or.
So, I mean, you personally, how many times have you come through that process where it was almost there? Like, you did the evaluation stuff for another publisher or something, and it was almost there, and you got feedback like that. And what walk us through that experience?
So I've never, like, it's going to be from the publisher's perspective, because I've never submitted a design like for like hoping it gets approved, right? That my first game, I just said, I'm going to make this myself. I don't need another publisher.
Oh, right. That's right.
But I get submitted a lot of prototypes. I have a stack of 4 or 5 of them from designers who are interested in having Thunderworks Games publish it. And some of them I play once and I'm like, meh. Or maybe they show it to me and I immediately kind of see some like problems for me, like whether I have a hard time figuring out who the market is going to be for it. So it becomes more of sometimes like a marketing and sales decision more than like whether this game is good or not kind of decision, which kind of sucks, but that's just kind of the way it is,
Right.
And so I have when I have time between like my own designs and my own publishing stuff, I like to take a look at other people's stuff in case there's something that I might want to publish in the future. Right now I'm kind of doing kind of 50-50 and maybe a little bit less than that of like my own designs versus other designer stuff.
Right.
But it's like when I play something from another designer and it's really good, it's like, and I can see in my mind what the end game is going to look like and how I'm going to market it and stuff. I was like, well, I want this game. So sometimes that means I put my own stuff on to the side a little bit so that I can work on these other things. But
I mean, you have to pay the bills, right? That actually brings me to another question here. I think we spoke, the Geek Spiel group spoke with you back in April when I was on board, when you were doing Role Player. And could you walk us through how the transition from a normal 9 to 5 job to what you're doing now? What has that been like? And
yeah, so maybe I just quit my job or something. Maybe I don't know. Like I went full time this spring, so it's been about 6 months. I mean, it's this process of like it's just trying to figure out financially how risky it is and whether I'm willing to take that risk. So I've got a family. I've got a wife and a kid, and I've got my own bills and responsibilities, and I had this job at a video game developer that I love very much, and I love the projects we were working on. But over the years, like I've been doing Thunderworks at this point for 4.5, 5 years, and it's like my passion was like slowly, moving from one thing to the other over to my tabletop stuff. So, role player, especially with the expansion, had been successful enough that I felt like I could make a go for it. So one of the big pieces was, talking to my accountant. I talked to my. That's one of the things. Like, I got to I feel like I can do it. Accountant, run the numbers and make sure I'm not crazy. So, and she's
numbers were always a pain point for me on the back end. I'm not a great planner. Let's put it that way. And for you, so like that's another crazy thing because a lot of people don't really think about that on the business end of things. I mean, how crazy are taxes to navigate when you're running your own game publishing company?
They're tricky, especially if you use Kickstarter. I mean, there's this whole idea of like, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get into this stuff. It's like a lot of stuff, you got to learn it, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this is we want part of our show is to actually share with potential designers too in the world and people who want to know a little bit more about board games than just the game itself. And this is good.
Yeah, so it's like one thing is most like normal people who have like W-2s and they work their 9 to 5 job or 9 to 6 or 9 to 12 or whatever they work. They file their taxes on an annual basis, so that means at the end of the year you pay taxes on your how much you've made minus how much you've whatever
correct the
expenses
ins and outs
you have, and plus counting against what your employer has pulled deducted on your account. When it comes to Kickstarter, it's like if I run a Kickstarter at the end of the year, like if I'm running Lockup right now. I'll receive the money minus 10% because Kickstarter gets their.
Of course, everybody needs their piece.
I don't know if everybody needs their piece. Everybody wants their piece, right?
Yeah, right.
So, I'm not going to be able to deliver. I'm not going to deliver those products until next year. So I'm going to have this big influx of cash, and if I file like a normal Joe would, that means. The government wants a third of that, right? They want all that. They want some of that money. But it's like, I need that money because I've got all these massive expenses coming up. So you have to start filing in what's called accrual basis, so that you can earmark income from one year and count expenses in the next year against that income. So it's like. Or else, like, what would happen is I would pay a ton of taxes on it at the end of 2018. And then assuming that, like, I suddenly found the money to make up for losing all that money to the tax man, is that by the end of 2019, assuming I didn't run another Kickstarter, which isn't true, but assuming you didn't, I would get a big, I would get a bunch of money back the following year, right? Because I would have all these debits. So 2019.
So the takeaway here for everybody out there in the audience: game making isn't all fun.
No. I find I really struggle to find design time to sit down and like work on design. And there's a lot of business stuff, and there's a lot of like sales stuff that I do, and I run my web shop that I sell all my goodies and stuff, and I do all that mailing. And myself, and then
so the trade-off for you, has it been worth it? Like where you are now, yeah. So before I was doing this job and I was doing my other job. Correct.
So now I'm just doing this one,
but just more of it.
Just a little bit more of it. So, when I was kind of doing both jobs for 2-3 years, really hustling at it. I mean, I'm still hustling now, but then I was 4 hours of sleep a night was pretty regular, and it was like
Yep.
I was trying to do 1 or 2 games a year, and now I'm trying to push closer to 3 or 4. And I've got more people helping me because I've had a certain level of success, and I'm not as scared to spend a little money to make a little money, kind of thing, right? So
right.
My most valuable asset right now is my time. So I would be happy to pay somebody to do this thing that I don't like, that takes up a lot of my time, which means I have more freedom to work on new role player expansions or whatever.
It's interesting how that's a sliding scale. When you start to come into a little bit more money, the income is a little bit more reliable. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, that I would never have paid somebody to do X, but now like $200, a month was worth it. I mean, just throwing it out there, like
yeah, for sure. There's a lot of stuff to do, and I really like wearing multiple hats and doing like being a part of every step of the process. But after a while, you do it a couple times, and you're like, hey, I don't like this hat, and I don't like this hat. I'm going to pay somebody else to wear those. So
that's great. That's a great way of looking at it too.
Yeah, it's you kind of build relationships by doing this as well. So you start to find people that you trust, and that's like a big thing.
Right, and then it evolves into, you hope it doesn't evolve into this, but then it turns into, I don't like the person that's wearing that hat.
Relationships is a big deal, right? So
of course it is.
Yeah. So whether it be like the designers that I'm working with, I want to make sure that I really like them before I start working with them. Right. Or if it's like, I've got a guy that does some social media stuff for me, and he's a good buddy. There's a woman that lives in Europe that kind of negotiates all my international licensing deals, which used to take up a ton of time. But so for example, Role Player is currently signed at least in 11 different languages in addition to English.
Wow.
And a lot of those deals and negotiations and stuff were kind of handled by her, and she's in the Netherlands, and so she's in most of their time zone anyway. So, and she does a really good job. So there's things like that used to take up a lot of my time that now I'm kind of passing off to other people.
That's good. Right. And now actually you touched on licensing, international licensing specifically. So obviously you have, when you release something within the States, you have pretty much some legal footing, for copyright and stuff like that. International law doesn't really cover that as well. So is that where licensing comes in, and like making sure that things are taken care of on that end, or hoping?
Well, I mean, I don't feel like there's anything I can. If somebody wanted to make a, basically copy Role Player and sell it on their market without paying, without access to my stuff, I don't think there's anything I can do to stop them that I have money to afford to do. Right.
Of course. Right.
So, I mean, I would like to think that the industry is small enough that if there was a lot of that going on, there'd be
a reaction to it.
Yeah, there'd be some people the community would rise up a little bit about it. I mean, I know,
right? You see it happen. I mean, you've seen it happen a lot with even Kickstarter projects that look too similar to other Kickstarter projects. Right, the community just was boom, down. This is just like this game. It's like copy and paste, and all of a sudden, it just disappears. And I mean, you're right. I think that where we are, as a community involved in this industry, is a very good place right now. I hope it stays that way. I really do.
I mean, in terms of just licensing it, so there's for example, Pegasus Spiel in Germany they're releasing a German version of Role Player for Essen Spiel this year.
Okay.
And it's just a matter of I can't judge the quality of their translation, and I can't
Oh, wait a second. Ich bin. I like that wording.
This doesn't seem right. I put it in Google Translate, and it doesn't seem 100% accurate. That conversation is not happening. But these are reputable companies that want to do a good job, and they want to sell great games and make money too. So it turns there's quite a bit of trust that happens, but there's also I get in advance, and they get all my original files, and they do their translation, and then hopefully it sells well for them, and then I get paychecks down the road. We'll see.
Of course. And also if it does well, future business with them for future titles. So that's awesome. So it seems like you're in a pretty great place right now. In the world of Keith, it's looking pretty good.
I'm pretty happy. I gotta admit, So.
You've had a smile through most of this conversation, so that's a great indicator.
Guilty as charged. Yeah.
So we slightly touched on any other projects coming up. You gave us that Let's Light reveal for the adventures within the role player universe. What else do you have in like what's brewing in the back of your head that where do you want to take the role player IP? Let's put it that way. Where would you ultimately want to take it?
Well, I mean, I love this. I've been really, really enjoying this world building stuff. So it's like I've got at least one other title that's kind of has that role player tale title, like subtitle. That's kind of, I guess I'd like to think that anything that's kind of, fantasy is a big genre in board games. I love fantasy stuff. Yep. And if I have game ideas that kind of fit fantasy, like let's continue to build this world. And so I've got the choose your adventure style game that's coming, and assuming that people like that, I would love to do more of that. I have talked to people about potentially doing like a traditional, Dungeons and Dragons style role playing game.
Oh, it's like a tabletop RPG. Interesting.
Yeah. So that would be cool to see. I mean, I played a lot of RPGs and stuff when I was in college, but I haven't played one recently, and I'm not a writer. Even for role player adventures, the choose your adventure style game. I have 2 writers that are helping me with it, who are both English majors and creative writing experts and stuff. So
there you go.
That is, the project's big enough that I can't handle it on my own for sure. But I want to do more kind of traditional expansions for role player, and I want to do kind of some offshoot stuff, and then we'll see where it goes. But then also, I don't want to be like Mr. Role Player. I mean, right now I kind of am Mr. Role Player.
Right, but you also have other interests. You also have interest in other genres.
Right. Which is one of the reasons why I did that. I did that Russian game that'll come out in the January maybe. And then I'm looking at other stuff, and I've designed other stuff that's not fantasy. So
you mentioned you have another thing coming up off air, like before we came on air today. What's the other project you have coming up in the near future?
Oh yeah, so so I did design a game called Skulk Hollow that's going to be on Kickstarter the 23rd of October. Pencilforce Games is publishing
Skulk, Skulk.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, Skulk Hollow.
Skulk Hollow. Yeah, it's a asymmetric 2-player game. One person plays as this giant monster. There's like 3 or 4 different to choose from, and they all have different abilities and different win conditions. And the other side plays these little fantasy, like they're like anamorphic foxes, and they have these cool little meeples. And there's like archers and fox knights and stuff. And basically, you battle it out on this 3x3 grid that's kind of at 45 degrees, like Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation. If you play that game, that's the only other game I can think of that has like that diamond kind of board. And then the idea is that once they get in the same space, the foxes can jump onto the guardian, so they move to a separate board in which they're navigating different parts of the guardian guy and like hacking away at different areas. And then when that area is damaged enough, the guardian can't use that ability anymore. So it's like a Mice and Mystics versus Shadow of Colossus, or type of. That's pretty accurate. Yeah. So, and it takes like 30 to 45 minutes. It's all card driven. All the cards are dual use cards.
Cool.
There's no. So where there's no dice rolling or anything, but it's a tactical, cool game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Well, so if you don't mind, we're going to crash the table if you're ready.
Let's do it.
But right before we do that, I do want to mention to everybody watching, we are going to be doing a giveaway for Tabletopia Gold account. And that giveaway is going to happen at the end of the stream. Matt's going to send out a tweet through @thegeekspiel on Twitter. So if you don't follow us, please follow us. And you'll be able to click the link to join the giveaway for that Tabletopia Gold account. All right. Oh, okay. Just join the Discord, but he is sending a tweet out, so the tweet will have a link for Discord. Crashing the table. All right, Chris and Chris squared.
Chris squared.
Good evening.
When you multiply us, we do amazing things.
Yeah, when I put you to the next power, it does even more things, more amazing things.
I know. That was complex math, and I'm too tired for that.
So how you guys doing this evening?
Good. Yeah, I had a sick kid all day, so about as exciting as that gets to be.
So I guess let's crash into the game here. Keith, do you want to walk us through what we're going to be doing here?
Sure. Yeah. So This is Lockup, a role-player tale. Everyone's playing as these groups of minions. You've got the bugbears, the goblins, the insectoids, and the kobolds. And the game takes place over 6 rounds. And if you've ever played there's 3 phases. The first one's called the roll call phase. And so what you're doing is you're gonna have these 6 tokens. Those are your crew, and you'll have them in your hand. And then you go around the table placing them in these different areas. Of your 6, when you place them, 2 of them can be face down. The rest all have to be face up. And it works like placing workers in Stone Age or something. So like you can place as many workers as you want or crew tokens as you want in a space, but when it comes back around the table, you can't place to that one again, right? So and the idea is that they each they're numbered between 1 and 5. That's their strength. And then there's 2 special ones. One is your enforcer, who has a fist icon. His strength is equal to the number of red cubes, which are power cubes that are on your board. Okay. And then the other special one is your lookout. And your lookout, basically, he counts as a 0, but he can help you avoid getting suspicion. And suspicion is represented by these black cubes. They start out with, there's 12 of them in the supply. They stay in the middle, and then at the beginning of each round, these small cards are on the outside of the board kind of populate. Okay. And depending on what cards they are, they'll basically tell you whether you need a suspicion comes out of the supply and goes into that location. So this is already set up for us. So if you look at the cultist by the sewers, on the right-hand side, there's a little black cube that indicates that the suspicion goes in the room that she's next to. So that's the way that works. So you have your 6 guys. You're putting in these different spaces. So there's the sewer. They're going to resolve in the next phase. We're going to resolve all of them. But I guess it's important to know what order that happens. The first one space you can place them is the exercise yard. Mm-hmm. There's where you're going to get more power. The person who has the highest strength. So what happens is when we get to the next phase, after everybody's placed their workers, we're going to resolve each space one by one, called the lights out phase. And you'll flip any ones that are face down, and then you'll add up your crew, and whoever has the highest one will get the first place reward. And then in the exercise yard, for example, the highest strength would get 1 power cube, and they'd also get the start player token. And second
that's that symbol right there is the start player. The little
I think for now the token will look like that horn shape in the final version of the game.
Okay.
But and then the second one is the second place just gets a power token. Anybody else who's there that didn't get anything, they're going to get moved to the library, which is the last location, number 8, a purple one.
Okay.
And then we're going around the table, the rooms kind of clockwise at that point. So the sewers, first place is going to get 3 scrap, which is the green cubes. Second gets 2. Everybody else, the 3 dots means everybody else is going to get 1. And then whoever has the highest strength will also get the suspicion cube that's there, unless you have your lookout there. So if you have your lookout there, you're ineligible to get the suspicion, and then it would go down to the next person in line. And then if like everybody put their lookout there, then the suspicion just stays there. Okay. So the blue room, you get you get the potions. This is a different resource first, and then last. If there's people in the middle, then they go to the library. Smithy is the first and the second, and then everybody else goes to the library, and then and you're getting iron there. And then in the commissary is where you can get the gold resource. So that's the one resource that's the only place where you can get it pretty much. Okay. And then so the first person can take a resource of their choice, and then the second player can trade in 1 resource for another resource, and then everybody else can trade in 2 resources for 1 resource. So that's the main place where you get gold.
Oh, so there's no other place actually gives you gold. This one gives you gold because you get to choose any resource available.
Right. There's a couple cards that break that rule, but
no room.
Right. Yeah.
Got it.
The Chow Hall is where you're going to hire these goons, which are on the outside of the board. So the person with the highest strength can trade in 1 resource for 1 goon, or 4 resources for 2 goons. Okay. And then second place can trade in 1 for 1 or 5 for 2. and then everybody else can trade in 2 resources for 1 goon. So basically, you pick up the card, you put it next to your area. If there's something in the upper left-hand corner, then you get it immediately. So for like example, the Hobgoblin in the upper right-hand corner, you get a potion when you get him, and then at the end of the game, the stuff on the bottom happens. So you get 1 point for every power cube you have. For
in the vein of role player.
Right.
It's active engine building with VP generation during the scoring phase.
Yes, in a very technical and kind of boring way. That's true.
Sorry,
for all the nerds
in my head, that's how translations happen.
So
I assume that Ratman, there's a set of those, right?
Yeah, there's the set collection on the Ratman. First one is worth -points, and can get up to 25. Nice. Upper left hand corner, you can. That means you can put a suspicion on from your board back to the supply. The dwarf is a set collection as well, but he's going to give you a scrap when you buy him. And then the demon. So on the upper left hand corner, there's that gem symbol. There's 3 different of these kind of set collection symbols. Let's see. Sometimes, like for this guy, he's looking for gems, and then you might be able to buy other cards. Like if you look in the item cards, the Precious Collection, and also gives you one of those symbols. So if you have the demon and then you have the collection, then you're going to get 4 points for the demon card, for example.
So not only are some of these set collections on these guys,
right?
Which what was the term used for these again?
Oh, goons.
Goons. So not only are they on the goons, they're also on item cards that you can purchase outside of them.
Right.
So your set collection actually happens from across all different sets, not just from a single.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then there are these. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. Let me finish what I'm doing before I start jumping into that.
Yeah, sorry.
So in the cell block, basically everybody can either build one of these face-up item cards. There's always number of players plus 1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's actually 1 too many cards here for a 4-player game, but we'll put one away later. So basically everybody can buy one or build one by paying the resources on the bottom. And then they get the victory points that are in the upper right-hand corner. And then sometimes people get immediate benefits from the upper left-hand corner. Other times they're set collection things. But you're basically building an item or reserving an item in strength order. So if you are there and you don't want to build something, you can just take one of those face-up cards by paying just 1 resource. And then on a future turn, you can go here and build something that's in your reserve. And then the last space is the library. The person who has the highest strength there is going to draw 2 library cards, or 2 tome cards, they're called. Pick one and discard the other one, and then everybody else just draws 1, or the second and third place. If there's a 4th person there, they're just kind of SOL, and they feel bad about themselves a little bit, and that's pretty much it.
Now is okay. So only when it specifically says the ... the ellipsis means 3, 4, 5, however many, or 3 or 4.
Right.
The ones that are numbered 1 through 3 mean that it's finite.
Right.
The rewards. Okay.
Right, and then you're tracking the rounds with this round tracker in the middle. At the end of the round, you can only hold up 5 resources. So if you have more than that, you have to discard down.
Okay.
If there's a goon in this final space on the upper right-hand corner, that symbol means it gets discarded. If there's a card there, all the cards slide over to the, slide clockwise, and then new goon cards come out. This is important. So if we ever need, during that process, these new goon cards will come out, and then you'll check to see if that means you need a suspicion token in that space.
Correct.
And if you ever need to pull a suspicion and there aren't any left in the supply, then a raid occurs.
Okay.
So what that means is that you look at everybody's suspicion, and the person who has the most is going to lose 8 points, and the person who has the second most is going to lose 4. And then all the suspicion goes back to the center off everybody's boards, and we keep continuing the suspicion process in terms of putting them in rooms.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, it can be a lot, I mean, like if you built this channeling rod for 8 points and then you had the most suspicion, you just kind of wasted a bunch of actions. So anyway, so that's something to keep in mind. Suspicion is a big deal. And then in the middle of the screen, or in the upper middle part, there's goal cards. So there's 3 different stacks of them, and 3 of them are in play every game. So and it changes the way the game works each game, each time you play. So right now we have the Hoarder up, which that's an instant. So there's an instant pile. That means if somebody meets that requirement, then they immediately take that card, they gain the points, and then that's kind of the end of the instant. Like nothing else happens with it.
Right.
The middle one is called the award cards. So the award cards work like the longest road from Catan, where like if you meet this requirement on here, you can take the card, but if somebody else starts meeting it better than you, then they can take it from you.
Got it.
So like in this example, have the most dwarf goons. You have 2 of them, so you grab the card. Somebody else comes along and they get a third one, and you're still at 2. Then they take the card from you, and that scores at the end of the game. And then the Smith is an end game one. So these just score at the very end of the game. The person who meets in this specific instance, we have the most items that have the iron requirement on them. So like if you look at the ones that are currently on the board, the lucky coin, the vertiblade, and the channeling rod kind of meet that requirement because those are all 3 looking for iron on the bottom of the cards. So the person who has the most will get 8 points, and the second most will get 4. And other things to keep in mind at the end of the game, you get a point for every resource that you have on your, on your board. You get 2 points for gold and 1 point for the other 3, and then you get a point for every unplayed tome card, and then you'll count up the points from your goon cards. And at the very end of the game, no matter what, a raid occurs. So you can kind of push off the raid through most of the game, but at the very end, it's going to happen no matter what. So keep that in mind.
I think. Go ahead, Chris.
Just have a question. Where's the toolkits? Just a joke. Never mind. Chris gets it.
I can't even give him a response because he beat me on this last game we played. Because he just had collected a bunch of toolkits. Halfway through the game, he got a card that says "Give you bonus points for every 2 toolkits you have," and so he hoarded them.
I had
the
a
rest of the
mountain
game.
of toolkits.
It's a joke in reference to another game.
I got to figure out the strategy for this game. Like, there's got to be a toolkit equivalent. I bet.
Don't tell him.
He wants to know what he can stockpile and then get a random card at the end of the game that helps him win.
Once these are taken, do they get replaced? The instance awards? No. So they're out there just for the game. This is all we got for this game.
Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm ready. Are you 2 guys ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how do we dictate first player? Do you have any type of thematic way to choose first player?
The rule book says whoever is the biggest troublemaker is the first starter.
100%.
Chris Walters. There he is.
100%.
So you guys have picked your colors for your...
Yeah, I'm red.
Yeah. I should be green, right?
I just assume whatever my cursor is.
Yeah, so Keith, it looks like you're gold with the kobolds.
All right.
Okay, so we take these into our hand.
There's probably a fast way to do this.
Shift, and then
shift drag.
Yeah.
And then pull them all down.
Pull them down the bottom of the screen. And then the lookout and the enforcer have no intrinsic point value, correct?
Well, right. I mean, the enforcer starts out as a 1 because you have 1 power.
Oh, okay. So he does give you 1. So as he builds up, he gets more power.
Right, and the lookout will always be a 0.
Okay.
Keith, on the number that we placed face down, how many do we do of that?
2
per location or for the round?
For the round, yeah.
Okay.
In a 2-player game, it's 3, but in a 3 through 5 player, it's 2.
Okay.
Here we go. This I got the jitters here, the little chill for excitement. So
it's gonna be good. Yeah,
that's gonna soon turn to depression as Chris starts to reveal his strategy. Either of the Chris's at this point.
All right, that's my place. And I'm correct in once you've placed down, you can't replace on a later turn. So like you had mentioned the Stone Age rule of like you can place as many as you want, but once I've placed in the sewers, I don't get to add more to the sewers.
That's correct.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
And I think there might be a tome card that lets you break that rule, but in general, that's true. Yeah.
And how many could we place at once?
As many as you want. So 6, I guess.
And you can only place in one location?
That's correct.
Okay.
Per round. So when it comes back to you, you can put another one to another space.
Got it. So who is next?
Is it me?
Keith and
I'm just hanging out over here. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The order on Tabletopia is never quite the same for everyone's screen.
I was just going based off the board. So
okay.
If you look at the
that's
top
a good idea.
Keith is clockwise to me. So
yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm done.
Oh, you trying to grab my first place? Come on, Keith.
I just like power. So we have one too many cards out here for the thing. Do you guys
go ahead. You could take care of that. whatever you think is going to be best for that. Okay. And then who's next? I'm not sure if my screen is the same as yours.
I've got Will. I got you next.
Okay, so just to make sure, so Keith is yellow. So you were here then. Okay, got it.
Oh.
Okay.
Competition.
I too like power.
Do you? Is that your thing?
I too like power as well.
So when I pull this out of my hand, is it going to be flipped upside down?
Flip it first.
Okay.
Yeah,
flip it first.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's going for the gold.
Where the gold at?
I want to know where the gold's at.
Oh, I'm done, by the way. There.
Okay. Back to Keith?
No,
No,
Red.
back to
Chris. Sorry, Chris.
Hey, 4 and a 2. That's pretty good there.
Thanks, Chris.
That is pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, but you're not supposed to have them flipped over, right?
Yeah,
you could do after you put 2 face down. You have to start putting them face up.
Yeah, and you can reserve. You can reserve the face down
for
later in the round too, right, Keith?
Yep.
Okay.
What am I doing?
Keith wants you to know he wants a goon bad.
In the worst way. He wants a goon in the worst way.
That's it for me.
I'm
just messing with my pieces.
Okay. Now I gotta ask. I probably missed this part, and I really do apologize. What's the fighter guy do? Like, does he like take some points off of someone else or something?
The fist guy?
Yeah.
His strength is equal to the number of red cubes on your board. So he starts out as a 1, and then he'll grow in power over the course of the game.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's
and I'm done with my turn.
And then the scout, of course, he can avoid suspicion.
Right, and it counts as 0. He counts as 0, but if you're still eligible to get rewards with him. So, like, if you're the only person in the infirmary and all you have is your lookout there, you're still going to get 3 potions, for example.
Now, I know, Keith, ties normally are decided by number of cards you have.
All right, I'm done.
No.
Game like this. Oh, no?
Tie is first player closest to first player.
Yeah. First player around the table.
Yeah, so you're good then. You'll get that.
Gosh, Will's already out of cards.
I have 1.
Oh, you have 1?
I got 1.
Whose go is it?
Red? It's mine.
Okay.
Dropping the enforcer in the cell block. Uh-huh. I love how my insect lookout is all bug-eyed.
That's great. I think it's Keith.
It's Keith.
Right. You're wrapped? Okay. No. Don't look at those.
I also like how there's varying degrees of fury in the faces of each like level. Like as they go up in level, like 2 over here is like wounded. And you go up to 4, and he's like he just wants to fight you
With the earrings. Yeah.
he's rocking the earrings, got that matte beard, mohawk. Other guys like
they're supposed to look tougher the higher up the chain they go.
Supposed to.
Yeah.
Sometimes the bandage over the eye is really intimidating.
It's like
okay.
Green's up, I think. No?
Yeah, I am up.
Yep. Yeah, the 2's kind of like, I could probably do some damage, but I'm in pain right now.
Infirmary, the wording on infirmary is last place means last place gets 1. The one in the people in the middle would get nothing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If you're not first, you're last.
If you're not Ricky Bobby. You're not first, you're last. I feel like I'm gonna have to put it here though, so I'm gonna put my enforcer up there. And that's my go. That's it.
All right, Chris, what are you doing?
You can't do that.
Oh,
you've already placed there.
Oh, that's right. My bad. I apologize.
I didn't tell you. You can't place in the library either.
I dropped it there by accident.
Okay.
It wasn't intentional.
And sewers gives you what's the green stuff?
It's called scrap.
Scrap.
It's called liquid gold. It's wonderful.
Liquid gold.
Don't put your stuff on my stuff.
You're gonna save your last one?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Blah. Let's
What
do
do I
this.
want to go for?
We're gonna drop that 5, Chris. We're gonna drop that 5.
It might not be a 5. Knowing Chris, though, probably
wouldn't you like
it's a 5.
to know?
Oh, it's a 5.
Wouldn't you like?
It's a 5, and he's thinking commissary to drop me to 3rd.
It's a 3, and I was thinking commissary.
Pretend I don't. Oh man. Okay, we'll just do this. Done.
Is that everybody's in?
Green. I have one left.
I'm placed. I tapped out already.
I have one left as well. Is there a benefit of not playing it?
No.
Put it anywhere.
You could go over to the smithy and still get that 2nd place.
Yeah, or the cell block down here, right?
Yeah.
Right? If you want to reserve a card, you don't have to build it.
Yeah, I don't
You
know
have to
about that.
pay a resource to reserve it, but
Yeah. Why not?
And paying the resource to reserve it, how do you pay at this point? You take the power from your...
Well, you get the power as you go, right?
Yeah. You'll get the stuff as you go, and then when we get to the cell block, hopefully you've gotten some resources, and you can
right, because
use
it's an
those
order.
resources to pay.
Got it.
I want to. I think I have just this guy. Everybody's placed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So then we reveal. We go to the next phase. So we resolve this guy first. So Green, you get the star player token and a power.
First, real bad.
And then I get a power. There you go.
Will gets his power. All right.
And
do
then
those immediately get taken away? Is that?
Yeah, then you take them off the board. So you can take those green ones and put them back in your hand.
Will,
if you want. Don't feel like you have to though.
I was doing some stuff on stream there. So where?
You
got first place on the exercise yard. So just pull those to your hand.
Take these two that are in the middle in the exercise yard back to your hand.
We already gave you a red cube.
Thank you.
Okay, so then in the sewers, red has 6, blue has 3,
I only have
and
5, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. Your lookout is 0, and I'm at 5 as well. So,
Shred Demon says in chat, the board design is so cool, and I agree.
Wait, how are you at 5, Keith?
so I have got.
The lookout counts as 0.
No, sorry, I'm at 3. I'm at 3. There are 2.
Okay.
Sorry. Ugh.
Gosh, Keith, you're scaring me with these numbers. I'm not trusting the numbers.
Yeah, I'm just rolling a die over here and just saying whatever the result is.
That number sounds
45.
good. Say it.
So
I get 3.
red, you take your 3, right?
Yeah,
blue
and I
takes
don't
2.
take the suspicion cube.
Right. So blue is going to get the suspicion cube. There you go.
Okay.
Because you were the next highest, right?
Yeah. And I get 1.
And so, like, as you go along, whatever you place on the board, like later on, like if you were to put your brute or your fighter later on, but like somehow you gained 6 power cubes or something like that, he's now more powerful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Crystal,
So do I get green things?
You get 2.
Yeah, you should get 2 of them.
Okay.
And then you can take your little dudes back.
And then at the infirmary, blue, you can go ahead and grab 3 blue cubes. I get 1.
As I mentioned with any stream, guys, if you have any question for Keith while he's with us, please ask in chat. I do have chat up now. That's kind of why I was distracted earlier. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for Keith as we're playing, throw them up here in chat.
Now, Keith, you can go over the cubes for the round as long as you spin them by the end of it, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's only in the last phase of the round where you check for that.
Yep.
And there's some cards that increase the amount that you can hold. Like actually 4 of the 5 cards that are face up all have that little barrel plus symbol on them. That means you can increase how many you can hold at the end of the round.
Oh, and so these go in those little squares, and I can only have as many as I have squares for.
Right.
At the end of the round. You can have as many as you can collect throughout. But at the end of the round, you got to.
So max player count for this is 5, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we're doing the smithy.
So I'll get the suspicion cube.
And 2. And then
now,
blue, you
does
get
he
gray.
get the, even if it's a 0 count, he still gets the second place?
Yep. And then over here, 9. So blue, you can just take any resource of your choice.
Yeah, I'm kind of not sure what I want to do now.
One thing that I want to say, Keith, that I appreciate about your campaign, I backed at day 1 for just the role player cards, and I appreciate that you did that.
Yeah.
Because so many times when you look at campaigns, they're like, oh, you get all these bells and whistles and all these really cool things for other games we have, but only if you back us at the max level. And that's just a really cool thing that you've done, especially for fans that you have in the role player universe. And I mean, it let me earmark it at that point, and I was going to wait till I get to play this today because I didn't. Honestly, I'm out a lot of money in Kickstarter right now. I just backed my 101st Kickstarter project. I backed like 2 days ago or 3 days ago,
nice.
And but yeah, so but I just appreciated that you had that option where you could just get those cards if you're interested in that.
Yeah, I like to see the world from the backer perspective as much as I can, because it's like, I don't want, it just feels slimy to me. It was like, well, if you really, I know you want this thing, right? But you have to buy this other thing to get it. So, on this commissary, did you guys? Who was in first?
One resource.
Blue is first, right?
Right.
No, I was first.
Oh, you were first.
No, blue was first. That's right. Oh, so I have to do 1 for 1. My bad.
Yeah.
And then I can't do anything, so my guy just comes back.
Well, you can trade in 2 for 1, but you don't have any.
I don't have any. I have power, but I'm not going to trade in my power.
Right? Yeah, power's not a resource technically.
Oh, okay, never mind. So nope.
And then I guess we're on to the Chow Hall. What do you got there?
We're tied, but you win because you were higher in the track.
Yeah. And neither of us are going to get to suspicion. So
right,
I only have 2 resources, so I'm going to trade in 1 for 1.
And I did horrible planning, so this did nothing for me too.
Chris won Artemis Project with horrible planning, so
that is true.
No, the first that's true. The first turn in Artemis Project,
first turn was not good for him, and he
lost the complete.
This one's not going to be good for me either because I'm going to lose 2 resources.
All right, well, I'm going to take the demon for this one.
For all of my efforts, I got 1 power on my insectoid.
Well, it's a learning game, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Here, I don't have anything to build, so I'm going to reserve something instead. And because I have the gem demon, I'm going to reserve something with a gem on it. So we're going to go with this one. So I have to pay 1 resource to reserve something.
Oh, Keith.
So earlier we were talking. You don't. Were you involved in like D&D or pen and paper RPGs?
Yeah, I played a lot. I played D&D when I was a kid, and then I played a lot of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse in college, and did some riffs and.
Okay, because I'm looking at these items. And looking at like the vertebrae, for example, it's just a cool concept. It's just a knife with the vertebra as a handle.
We had a lot of fun,
it is
trying to find funny things we could do. Because a prison is kind of a heavy subject, so we were trying to throw in a little bit of humor so that it didn't feel like a super serious thing,
Right.
Now, Keith, real quick, a question for you. It's in the top left of that card. It says a plus on a barrel. What does that mean?
That increases the amount of resources you can store at the end of the round.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the shield is just, it matches up with a type of character or a goon?
Yeah, just like a set collection thing. Sometimes on those cards at the top. Go ahead.
Sorry, are these face up?
The ones that you buy, yeah. So did you reserve that or did you build it?
I bought it. I am building it.
And it's quite literally, it just takes 1 scrap, 1 smithy, and 1 gold, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then you get 17 points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go for, but I forgot that I had to put something. I had to bid in the cell block to do so.
So here, but not everybody else.
But no one else. Just you.
Only me.
You're winning.
Can we stop the game? Can we just call it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, is that it?
Sounds great.
Game right now?
Yeah, that's the game, guys. I hope you liked it.
Right. You said 6 rounds. You meant 1, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like, I was going to come up with some equation 6 minus the number of players minus 1 is the number of rounds.
Yeah, right. 5 players, you don't even play the game. It's
absolute balance right there.
All right, so now we're just kind of the cleanup phase, which is called the patrol phase. So this card gets thrown away.
Okay, so even though there's a gap here, as long as there's a card here, it's gone.
Right, yeah. So these all slide down. New ones come out. There's another dwarf. There's a cultist.
That's scary, because does that put 2 suspicion cubes over here?
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through them. So this cultist will put 1 down. This dwarf puts down 2.
And suspicion cubes are bad, right?
Yeah, you don't want those.
Because they're like, the goons are like, hey, you're trying to do something that you shouldn't be doing over here. Or the guards are, anyway.
Yeah. So I think
I might find my shiv.
Round 2. And Green's the start player. I think we're ready to start.
Okay. Good. What?
Oh boy.
Why is Green start player this time?
Because he got first place in the exercise board. so it rotates.
Makes sense.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's do.
So don't forget, you're also going to get points if you're the first person to have 3 gold. You're going to get, and then you're trying to get dwarves for the Mountain King card and item cards that have iron requirements on them.
That's 3 gold in your stockpile, or is that have ever had 3 gold?
Actually,
I have to discard some.
I'll flip that up.
Right?
Yeah, you got to get rid of 2 of them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of these blue ones.
I will flip that up.
Okay.
All right. And then
Chris.
Alrighty. So the dots, they let everyone do, like everyone gets to do something there, right?
Right.
Okay. Oops. That's all I want to do.
And just quick review on some of these items like this. The spell supplies are any 3 resources that are not the same.
Right.
The precious collection are any 3 that are the same, and then the improvised arsenal is any 3. They look very similar, but they've got symbols on them.
Right.
And then, are you done placing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool.
Then
it's me.
Yep.
Right. And that's it.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, thanks, man.
Keith, I wanted to tell you too.
Colors.
I just bought the expansion to Role Player 2 days ago, and I found it in my local store. I was super stoked because I missed out on the campaign.
Right.
Just being able to do it. So yeah, no, I found it. And I was super excited.
Yeah, it's still in stock. I mean, Cool Stuff still has copies, and but there's none. I don't think there's any at distribution, but there's still some in stores. And I have more coming.
Good.
Is it my placement again, or whose placement is it?
I am done. So it's Green. Your turn.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, it's always tricky to figure out. Well, how many you want to print, and then how much money you can afford to print. So. So this is the 5th printing of Role Player. So yeah, it's been a good run.
Will, you're just not going to show me what you have?
I put this on Face Up first round in order to.
Right. No, I know. I want you to show me what you have.
Oh no. Go ahead.
You liked my strategy, so you're just like.
I did it first this round.
No, I meant the lookout. Put your lookout up, but then.
Oh, well, of course.
No, I'm not getting the cubes, but.
Yeah. Why certainly. All right, so let's see.
You done, Will?
Oh yes, I am. Oh yes.
And does that mean
it's you, Chris?
Okay.
Yeah, as you're swimming in cubes over there. What are you doing?
I know, right?
So you can only make one single buy per turn, right, Keith?
Right. You can only build once per turn.
I believe that I will go.
He wants that first place.
Maybe not. Maybe I just want to guarantee second. I don't know. I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, I can't do that. I am sorry. I cannot do that. Give me 2 seconds. All right, so that one is fine. I'm gonna flip that one over. I apologize. That was bad judgment. But I am done now.
Okay.
Sorry if my keys are making noises here.
All right, go ahead, Keith.
Done.
Okay, so then it goes to me, and what does the landscape look like? Pretty scary. Pretty scary. I guess I will do. This allows me to trade in 1 resource for a single minion.
Yep.
If I'm in second, I can do the same thing.
Yes.
Right. But if you're in first place, you can also alternatively trade in 4 resources for 2 goons.
Correct.
So, yeah.
I don't know if I'll be at that 4 resource situation though. Possibly. Okay, let's place that gentleman. And go ahead.
Okay.
iDragon asks, how many races in total are there in the game, Keith?
Playable races are 5.
Okay. And we have goblins, bugbears, kobolds, insectoids, and what is the last one?
The last one is purple, and they're the gnolls.
Gnolls.
Okay.
So
everything you see in play plus gnolls.
Right. And then the game will actually come with, I don't know if you saw these on the Kickstarter, they're these basically these Scrabble tile holders to hold your tiles, and then on the backside it's got like jail bars that are cut out, and you can there's pictures of your guys behind the bars.
So, who was first player?
I am.
Green was. Yeah.
Okay. So that means that if Keith and I tied, I would win first, right? Since I am directly after.
It's me.
Will? Yes. I believe if
that's
I've
correct.
interpreted the rules correctly.
Yep.
Okay. Just curious. All right. I know it's not a tie, but still. I just had to ask.
So 6 up in the commissary, huh? Who else has tiles to place? Because I can't see hand count. Oh no, I can.
You can next to the number or their face icon. Keith, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things in my hand is my reserved card, so it's.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. I was like, how does Keith have 4 in his hand still?
I can just do this instead.
What kind of epic strategy is this that he didn't reveal to us?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I was like, wow, Keith hitting on some cards.
I'm not messing around.
Yes, not to tell us everything.
Yeah. And then someone in chat just said, did Keith just say there were 5 races, quote unquote, currently?
Yeah.
That is what he said.
Stretch goal.
Yeah. I don't want to start any false rumors, but
I'll start them. I have no qualms about starting.
I like that.
What you don't know is there are 10
1, 2, 3.
new playable characters coming out. So,
oh god,
is it my turn?
I just played, so yeah.
Okay.
If the Kickstarter reaches $1 million, he's releasing a God race.
Right.
Just wins.
You get that one, you automatically win.
But you only get it if you back that project. So no one else will ever get that raise ever again.
Keith, why are you gonna be like that?
Well, I don't know.
That race is the race of tiny rhinos.
Yes.
Yes.
As many games as I can be immortalized in as possible would be great.
Really funny anecdotal story, like involving role player too. I actually met Matt through Geekspiel, through talking about role player on one of the Discords I was on. And Matt actually, at a convention he was visiting, he actually got me the promo Cursed Ring card and mailed it to me, and that's how we started talking to each other.
Yeah, he also mailed that to me, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
That's
what you all didn't hear.
I give away like
stealing stacks of them while Keith's not looking right.
Hey Matt, can you send me one? No.
He's got to hold on to the 700 he's got left. So
yeah, I have a lot of Cursed Rings.
Keith's over there like, I got a stack. It's fine.
I'm assuming it's me, right?
No, it's
I didn't go yet.
Red.
Right?
No, Ukraine.
You did you place yours, Keith?
I did 2 face down in the sewers.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me then.
Face down in the sewers.
Face down.
That's the worst.
That sounds like a miserable situation.
It does. And then the smithy gives me iron. I'll pay the iron price. No.
Right.
I guess this kind of sucks, but yeah, I'm gonna have to place it there.
You done?
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, you done?
You done yet?
Are you done?
Is my go?
I'm done.
Yes.
Oh no, it's my go. It's my go. I didn't know. I thought Crystal had one.
No, I just played it. I'm done. I'll tell you, some of these goblins look like snobs. That number 3 there, he's all righteous about himself.
He really is. He has his nose up in the air.
He's like, yep.
I can hear his scoff.
Yeah, is
cardboard.
I am going to go to the exercise yard. All right,
just so you can go to the library.
I just want a card from the library.
Oh, smart. That's a smart play. Smart. But watch, like somebody played like something else that's not worth anything here. and his power that he's going to gain is going to put him. Actually, it won't work that way because he's going to be whatever he is now, 1.
Right.
All right. I think that's it.
I think so.
Well, I think I'm last in the exercise yard.
Oh,
wow.
So that's what, 1 power and
you get first player.
Player.
So you are what color? Blue, right?
Blue. So I always enjoy a rotating first player marker from like a bidding standpoint, because it's a fun mechanic where you took the round marker with you.
I did take the round.
As a player, I don't necessarily have to ever bid for it, because as long as Keith's not the one holding on to it, I get to be, second or third if those two fight for it, right?
True.
So
that's very true.
Sometimes going first is great, but it's not always, everything. And going last, I mean, Keith, the way he was able to hold on to some of those, some of his cards and look at where everyone placed. I mean, it's not a horrible position to be in.
It's true. I'm sitting at 6.
Yeah, I'm at 5, so
I'll take
2.
And I am at 3, so I will take 1.
It's funny, and Eric the Great says His philosophy when playing with Will is he doesn't have to win, just has to place ahead of him.
Very true. Very true.
All right, so everybody got their scrap, I'm assuming.
Sorry, no, I did. Yes, I did.
I did, yes.
Hey, cool.
That's right. My first resource, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right.
Congratulations.
Da, 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 da. All right, Will.
Is there an award for worst player at the table? Because I can use that right
we'll
now.
give it to you. In Emma's game, it became me. It was the I got a little bit of a bonus from that, I think.
In Emma's game, she also gave you an achievement based on
right.
Infirmary.
Oh,
next,
that's right.
yes?
The worst player award. Yeah, the tank puppy.
No, it was the only person to be the loser.
Was it loser or
flip
score
your
no points? I can't remember.
Sorry.
Dang it! Man, still last.
So I get three of them blues.
So, because everyone like tied except for you.
Yeah, you all had 3 sets, and I had 1.
0. Like, yeah, you just like lost.
Yeah, I lost very badly.
That was the achievement was the Chris, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's what she was going to call it. I don't know if she actually.
Okay. So next up, I have to flip again. I'm sorry, or Blue had to flip.
Oh! What happens in this? Oh yeah,
double lookout. Yeah, it's a tie, and he wins because he was. Wait, yeah, he was second. So Chris, Chris.
So he gets 2.
All right, so I get 2 iron.
I still get my 1.
Yeah, that's such an interesting mechanic too of your zeros.
Oh, by the way, I have to take
power to that.
Oh no, I had lookouts there. You guys had double lookouts there. I'm gonna have to take over here. I keep hitting tab to ping the map. Second nature. Second nature.
Okay, and it looks like Keith's gonna get that first slot on the
commissary. I was trying. Yeah, it seems like I should take a goal. I guess.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's what all the cool kids are doing.
And for those of you that might be just joining us, we are doing a giveaway for a Tabletopia gold account. Tabletopia gold account.
Do I get a change on that then?
Yeah, you can swap 1 for 1.
All right,
Chris, you have so much to exchange.
I know. Can I do multiples or just 1?
Just 1.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take a gold because I want the gold.
Gotta get that
gold.
You just have to join Discord to be qualified for that giveaway.
All right, and I have beaten Will on this one, so I get to do. I had planned and will continue to plan to do the turn in 4 to get 2. I was really hoping I would keep those 3 potions, or get those 3 potions.
So I am 1 short of 5. Way to go, Chris. Way to go.
So I'm going to take 2. So this is an interesting strategy. You know, what do you take on the top left corner, right? Like, what benefits are here? It's an interesting piece. I'm going to go ahead and take the 2 dwarves, though.
He won that one. Did he have a lookout there? Did you have a lookout there?
No, I didn't. So I do take that suspicion.
Okay. All right.
But I'm going to take the second dwarf, which lets me put 1 back.
Yeah, put 1 back.
And then I have to choose one of these.
And that goes into the pool, right, Keith?
That's right.
Okay.
The symbol on the top left of the cultist, add 1 iron, right? Is that correct? Let's do that. So I'll take the cultist up here. And I add 1 iron.
All right.
Keith, what you grabbing first?
I guess. Man. I hate to burn this gold. I'm gonna do. I guess I'm gonna do the. Fuck. Sorry. Somebody open the door. Technical difficulties.
A little bit of static on your mic over there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of static.
I'm the worst. I guess I'm gonna do.
So you act right now, Keith, like you are the worst, but I can tell you now, we at Geekspiel, myself in particular, are absolutely horrible about taking our sweet time choosing actions. So
very true.
Does an item flip before the next purchase or no?
No.
Okay.
Only at the end of the round.
All right. So are you done with your turn? Sorry.
I am. I've completed purchasing my sweet supplies.
Okay. So
Sweet.
since
get those knuckles,
I am gonna get the
nunchucks.
Yep. Unfortunately, I got to burn a gold to do so. But there's that.
Well, but again,
And that. And that.
You don't have to burn a gold.
Yeah, I do.
Well, he was only one away from getting that hoarder card.
Oh,
He was.
well, yeah,
He
but
was.
and I technically get the Mountain King right now.
The hoarder card. What's the hoarder card?
On the top,
3 gold in your hand.
if you have 3 gold, you're gonna.
Oh yeah, that one. I was going for it, but it is what it is. So that gives me 17 points, right?
Yes, sir. I get you.
Three cards are gonna spawn in here.
It's me, right? I'm in the library. So Keith, for that top spot, I get to draw 2 and choose.
Choose one and discard the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have Chris Cornell vision right now on the board.
What does that mean?
That means they can see my board, like what I see, my hand and everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Keith, you're gonna know what this means. So that's great. The roll call phase.
So the roll call phase is when you're putting units out. And then the lights out is when you're, I think. Well, does that not make sense?
Roll calls in the morning and lights out is at night.
Yeah. Makes sense.
In a prison. So that would be.
Roll call is when you're putting stuff out, and lights out is when you're resolving everything, and the patrol is when you're doing all the cleanup.
Interesting.
Is there a way to smoothly zoom in and out on this? I can't remember.
No.
So, this is space bar that I'm going to discard. And that's what I was asking about. So I assume that I can still. It's essentially lets me see what folks are doing for a round.
Right. So it's like I can say I'm going to pass, but I can jump back in. When it comes back around.
Right. Cool.
I don't know. That's a fine spot, I guess.
All right.
All right.
So that was fine.
I think that's it. Ratman goes away.
Cultist Travis.
And remember that.
Oh wow!
This deck
1,
gets shuffled.
2, 3, 4 of those come out of here, out there. Yo.
So.
Wow, there's a lot of suspicion cubes going.
Man,
almost at the raid. Almost at the first raid.
Keith, what would happen if there was a tie for first or second with relation to suspicion?
To raid. So first, if you're tied for the most, both players lose 4 instead of 8.
Mm-hmm.
Or and if multiple people, if there was 4 people all tied for first, they would all lose 4 points, which would be nothing. So that's pretty lame. But if there's 3 of us were tied for first, we would all lose 4 points. If there's not a tie, and then second place doesn't get nobody gets anything for the second most.
For the tie. Yeah.
Right.
Now,
but in the case,
is there a tie for second?
If there's a tie for second, then both players lose 2, or all the players that are tied for second lose 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like it's Chris's turn first, right? Oh, we got to replace these items.
Did no one take first player from me?
Well, you got it that last round.
Yeah, you just gained it last round.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. It's been a very, very long day.
Understood.
Let's see.
So that means
so take a look at the rat man in the corner. Notice the little X on the suspicion has an arrow next to it. That means you don't put it back in the supply. It means you give it to another player.
Oh,
what?
Dirty.
Actually, the dwarf that you got before has the arrow on it too. So you should have given that suspicion to somebody.
So I can give just one. It's just one suspicion, or is both my suspicions?
Hey,
just one.
He
just
said
one.
Should have, but you didn't. So
hey, I don't know how you guys play that stuff. How far back you want to go?
No, it's okay.
It wasn't a rule that was shared yet, and so
it doesn't matter. He can put it wherever he wants. I know where it's going.
Do I get super salty with Chris because he beat me last time?
Yeah. Okay,
or do I get super salty with Will because Will keeps coming at me in every game we play?
You're the target. Beat.
That's
remember,
a good question, but
remember,
you
if you mark me, remember, like the way I play games is I don't care if I win this game. If I'm marked, you're going down with me.
but Chris, think of it this way: I had that one coming. How many games have you beat me at where I did not win?
Oh, you're right. 100%. Keith, I know we've beaten you once at your game before. I'd like to beat you again.
That sounds good to me, man.
Yeah. I mean, and I was the first place on Role Player when it was on the show. So
hey,
maybe I can hold my title against Keith.
I wish you luck, sir.
Keith, I'm coming for you all day. All right. Well, it sounds like Chris, you can go now.
Yeah.
What is this thing that's face up down here? Textbook traps.
Oh, that's the discard for the
discard. We'll put it off the board.
Oh, that's actually super powerful, though. It basically lets you hold your crew until everybody's already placed, and you can place them later.
I know. I got another really powerful card.
Yeah, there's a lot of really powerful cards in that deck. Just saying.
And when can I play those at any time?
I mean, sometimes it tells you like specifically what phase, but most of the time,
the phase.
Yeah.
Let me make sure this.
In general, it's just kind of free.
This is where'd it go? There it is.
You okay? You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm just having difficulties. I'm good. Go ahead. Move along.
So you got okay.
You place 2.
Red's up, I think.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Of course.
Sorry.
And one more time, in the cell block, I could reserve an item card, a single one.
Yeah.
Or the last thing there is
this is supposed to be the reserve. So the icon on the far right needs to be replaced, but what it's trying to tell you is like you can spend any one resource to take any of the face-up cards.
Okay.
It used to work where you took a blind one off the top of the deck. That's why the symbol's a little weird.
And are you reduced to only taking one, or could you take multiple?
You can just take one.
Okay, so that's a finite amount you can take.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're restricted to a single item per round.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Important.
Yeah. So I guess the most you can ever build is 6. So if you're like trying to evaluate how much like those cultists are worth,
yeah,
maximum 6 points, probably more like 4.
Right.
Right.
Keith, it's your turn.
Is it my go? Thank you, sir. Well, you guys.
Well, you guys.
Well, I'm trying to why is everybody all excited about potions? I'm trying to figure that out.
They are super excited about potions.
Like 12 points. Oh my god. Okay. You guys seem pretty cool. There you go.
Man, I just like drinking potions, man.
That's right.
Getting off on the potions.
If it comes in looks anything like mana or something like that, I'm gonna drink.
I think you're up.
Yep.
Speaking of that, didn't Mountain Dew do like a mana or no? That was Alliance and Horde or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. They had the Halo themed ones.
That's right. They did
for a while.
Okay.
Leave it to Mountain Dew.
I mean, yeah.
If only they do those themed
Back
ones
to,
in Diet
Chris.
Mountain Dew, that would be better.
Back to Chris.
Let's see.
With Diet Mountain Dew, is that what you said?
Yeah, I actually can't stand the taste of regular drinks now. I don't know why. It's terrible.
You've become acclimated.
I have become acclimated to the diet drinks. It's terrible.
Interesting. It's terrible.
Well, it is. Like I took a drink of my wife's regular Coca-Cola today. It was way too sweet. I couldn't do it. I like gave me heartburn immediately.
The diet stuff gives me headaches. I can't even drink it. So that's why I just stick to water and milk for the most part anymore. So quick question for you, Keith. What conventions are you hitting up the rest of this year?
Go ahead.
I have 2 more on my list for the rest of the year. One is a smaller to medium-sized level convention here in my hometown, which is Game Hole Con.
Okay.
Which is an awful name, but a good con.
Awful name, a good con.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then I'll be at PAX Unplugged.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Oh,
Yay.
Great. Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, all of us, so many from Geekspiel are going to PAX Unplugged. So.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't go last year, so this will be my first Unplugged.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Yeah, this will be my first one. So
send me a copy of your logo, and I'll get send it to Matt, and we'll get a custom token printed up for you.
Okay.
Well, I'm making custom tokens to hand out.
He's making some cool tokens for us. So
cool.
There's a quick little sneak peek if anyone wants to see.
Busted. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just remind me after.
Will do.
I think it's my turn, I think.
Yes, it is, Keith. Go ahead.
Damn it. I hate being that guy. Whose turn is it? It's probably yours.
Fine. You really are okay.
It's
okay.
We'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
Okay, so what is happening?
I'm looking at different parts of the fort, so I apologize.
Matt, you can also share my screen. I have it too much.
Go ahead.
All right.
Oh, that's true. I am.
Will, are you done?
I am done. Yep.
All right. Let's see here. I think I am gonna go. And that's it for me.
Okay. So back to Chris Walters.
Yep.
It's funny because you look at the face down ones and you're staring at them. Just you want them to go face up. When it's a resource you really, really want.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Keith.
Alrighty.
Okay, so you're rocking. And red is
Done.
before me because I'm in last place because that goblin situation.
Because of the goblin situation.
It's like some awful young adult novel. The goblin situation.
The goblin situation. It's my turn. Yes. So
There's like some weird obscure movie that I remember seeing as a kid called The Peanut Butter Solution. You ever No.
The peanut solution.
Nobody, no takers on that one.
I don't think anyone else has seen that, Keith.
no, I don't think so.
You're going to have to elaborate on this one.
I don't think I want him to elaborate on the peanut butter solution.
What do you think that movie's about?
PG-13 stream, boys.
Right.
This is before PG-13 existed, so it's funny. You go back and watch some of those PG. I watched the PG Goonies with my kid the other day. I was like, this is definitely would be a PG-13 if it came out now. Yeah.
Spaceballs is a great example of 13 not being a PG. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was
Will, is that all you're putting?
Yeah, that's all I'm putting out this one was round.
Right.
I'll tell you, funny thing is like the Avengers and stuff. My son's really into Spider-Man and not Batman as much, but Superman and but most of the Marvel. I know Superman's not Marvel, so before you freak out on me, but he's really into most of the Marvel universe. So Spider-Man and Thor and Hulk and all that stuff. And I was watching Avengers today, and he was in the living room, and there were certain parts in the movie where I was like, he can't watch this. He's a little bit too violent. But it changes when you're a parent. You know what I mean? The whole perspective of that.
Yeah.
You said you're done, Chris.
Not me. Who just said they were done?
Oh,
Keith.
Okay.
Keith went. Okay.
So that means it's now Will.
Back to me again already?
So you didn't
skip me then?
No, I think Will. Or Keith. I think you jumped ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Because Will just played this. Yeah, so it should have been Chris's turn.
Because I don't have my UI on.
Yeah, Chris, it's your turn.
Okay. And I think I am gonna go. And I'm out. All right. Next up.
So I was just did a quick IMDb lookup of that Peanut Butter Solution movie.
You're not moving away from that. You've gravitated toward that, and you are not letting go.
Dude, it's this movie about this. I don't know. It's so random, but it's basically a movie about this kid.
Perfect.
He basically gets a spell or something put on him, and it makes his hair never stop growing. And then the people want to harvest his hair to make paintbrushes with it, and to get it to stop growing, they have to put some kind of weird peanut butter concoction in his hair. It's weird.
Did you?
Well, Keith, it's your turn. So, and your weird stories.
I know.
And
it's weird.
Looks like
I saw this movie when I was 8 years old or something, and it stuck with me.
And the first second ... ellipsis there, right? First, it's beyond first second.
Everybody gets
it.
Everybody gets one.
Okay.
You get a car.
You get a card. You get a card. Is everybody placed?
Yeah, I think we're resolving now.
Okay, resolve time. So
Chris has the first one there.
Oh yeah.
So you get the start marker.
Still, yay. All right, and then I get one of these.
I just want the power.
This needs smoother scrolling. I'm gonna put that in the dev blog. Like, hey, I need some more smooth scroll.
So what is the yellow's worth?
I'm at 5 total.
Yeah, Chris is Will's first. I'm second.
I get 1 measly cube. Oh, that's you.
Someone just took my red. All right, Chris, what did you say? You're 5? Yeah. I'll take 3 here.
Which means, does that mean that I get those 3 suspicion? No, because I have my scout.
No, we both have the lookout out there. So.
Yeah.
You guys are smart.
Red gets 3 blue. Blue gets 1.
All right. Get one of those.
Oh no way. iDragon, you're from Kingston? That's awesome.
How are so many of us from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, especially like northeast. Well, not northeastern. Well, is Williamsport considered northeastern? No, right? North Central.
And I'm from Northwest Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. But still, a lot of Pennsylvania people.
Yeah. PA represent.
PA crew. Hashtag PA crew. So
did you grab your iron?
No, I have to get my iron.
Okay. And Chris, with your soul blue.
I wasted my 4 up there.
Yeah, you also get.
I don't know if it's really a waste though. Do I get a suspicion if I'm top?
Oh. Yeah, because you didn't have the lookout.
Ow.
That's a bummer.
Sadness.
Much sadness is bad.
Sadness indeed.
Okay.
All right. So I get whatever
you want.
You can trade. You get 4 for 2, probably.
What?
No, he's talking commissary.
Let's see.
Will, you get to go though. You get to.
Yeah, I'm doing the 4 for 2. So let's see. I guess I'll do.
You're taking those Ratmen that move those cubes to someone else, right? So someone doesn't take those from you.
Perhaps
he doesn't have any suspicion.
I know.
Battery's getting a whole lot of cultist.
So let's see what we have here on the table.
You really have to have two Ratmen to even be worth.
So that will give me a green. And actually, I might. Yeah, I'll keep that. Just do another cultist.
Okay.
Okay.
Who you picking, Keith?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I want. No, I'm just gonna grab one of these guys.
You want a Ratman or a Ratman?
Well, there's the one that I get. The one that I get to pass.
Oh, each Ratman has a different ability.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
this one gives you something different.
So they're not all the same.
Nope.
Right.
Not all Ratmen are created equal.
I guess I'm gonna get rid of it. I guess I'm getting rid of iron to do that, but whatever. Okay, so then. So the problem is that you guys know each other's voices a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember who
I sound like Ray Romano.
So I'd like to
Will.
tell you it wasn't me, Keith, but it was definitely me.
You got a suspicion. Congratulations.
Oh.
I knew that was probably going to happen when that came out.
Yeah.
All right, Will, you get
Here
to
comes
pick
that
first.
raid.
So red gets the wait. What's the raid?
No. Wait, how's the
It
raid?
hasn't happened yet.
We're not at raid time yet.
Yeah. So who gets first? Red.
Red gets
No,
it.
Green does.
No.
I only have 2.
Red's got
2.
He only has 2. Okay, so I go first
Green.
on the item.
How you argue with me?
Don't you argue with me? Don't you sass me?
I don't know if I mentioned this. Like, if you are supposed to get a reward and you just don't want it, like if you like forget it, I don't want to reserve anything, I don't want to buy anything. You can basically choose not to get a reward and go to the library.
Okay.
oh,
I'm getting the rat mat or this. What is he?
the Ratomaton.
Ratomaton. Yes, and that one I'm gonna.
Of course,
pay
you'd take
for
the
it.
Ratomaton.
I will pay for it
Look at that ring, though.
for a high price. Well, I want that green shield, baby. Set collection.
Oh, I know.
I gave you your 12 points.
Thank you.
And then
Chris.
Such a gracious guest, like, being involved, tracking scores. Thanks.
Yep.
you guys want to hear about any other movies from my childhood that were awful?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as long as they're appropriate. As long as. Actually, perfect segue here. What is your guilty pleasure game? So the one game that you play and you really enjoy that you don't really like to share with other people that you like that game.
That's a
tough
weird question.
And that lets me to get rid of a suspicion, right?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Throw it away. I got the ring.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you
The
can throw the
pinky ring.
suspicion. Yeah, you put the suspicion back in the pool. What is my guilty pleasure? Like,
Yeah, now the example I always use, and I use this as a change, so people will have
And I
laugh
get
about
9
it. But
points for that.
my example is Monopoly. It's the one that anybody who's a game player always says, "Oh God, you actually like playing Monopoly," and it's more of a guilty pleasure because my family, we play it every holiday and we spend hours playing it, and I enjoy it. I enjoy playing Monopoly.
I guess it's like I don't ever feel guilty about stuff, so that's the part that's weird about it.
I don't have the capacity for guilt, Will. So I don't know how to answer.
Your question is invalid.
Well, though, I could actually say Monopoly is pretty. I have Deadpool Monopoly that I enjoy.
That's even more of a, like, the only thing worse than Monopoly is an IP based Monopoly.
And I'm on the forum. I'm picking up a copy of Game of Thrones Monopoly.
I think there's even like levels of IP monopolies that are like some others. So like, if you have like The Simpsons, I respect you less than if you have like Game of Thrones Monopoly. Do you know what I mean?
I think my answer would probably be like Tales of the Arabian Nights. I really like, but I know a lot of people don't like that game.
Okay.
Because it's more of an activity than a game, right? But it's super random, but I enjoy it. I don't know.
Well, but see, that's the thing. I think a lot of designers, when I ask that question, most of them will talk about things that don't really fit the mold of a traditional board game, that are like agility games, don't really fit the mold of most board games, and people like will say they enjoy them, but they feel guilty for enjoying them.
People should stop feeling guilty for things.
So, Keith, I gotta ask you.
Yeah, is it my turn to buy?
Yes.
All right, ask me while I'm buying.
Ask him while he's buying.
Go.
And only then.
He's counting his points.
You have 10 seconds. Do I buy quickly?
Time's out. No, seriously, who had a question for Keith?
Oh, I was trying to ask him because he had been moving everyone's points, and I didn't think he moved mine, so I moved myself.
Oh, that was a question.
Well, I mean, you should be able to count up your points on your items. All right. I get 7 points. I'm yellow. I'm at 27. Yay!
Chris, I hate to gloat, but I'm winning.
You are. That is true.
For now.
Right. Now, why would you choose to gloat when he's right behind you?
I know. It's
like it'd be one thing if like you would like gloating would be like if he was at 20 and you where you are right now. Like this is.
I would also like to just really quick play my card here. So let's return one of my suspicions.
So.
Ooh.
All right, so you just saved us from having a raid.
No, there's 4. Oh, it's when you can't pull anymore.
Exactly. You
That's actually good though.
Do you want to take it back?
No, no, because I would.
Do you not want to demonstrate a raid?
Oh, wait, there still is a raid, isn't there? Because that.
No.
Oh, when you can't pull when it's empty, you can't pull. Got it. Interesting.
No, I definitely wanted to do that.
I kind of want to know what happens during a raid.
You lose 8
the
points.
The person with the most suspicion loses 8, and the person.
I don't want to know what happens when a raid. I don't want to do that.
You two would split it. You guys would both lose 4 if the raid happened now.
Well, it's not terrible.
Then Keith, would we don't have any suspicion, so would we not? Nothing would happen to us.
That's correct.
Because there's a tie for first.
Right.
All right.
I think we're good to go.
Yeah. Chris.
All right.
There's a green token on the board over here.
Oh, yeah. Chris put me back in last place, or keeps me in last place here now. So now I'm stuck in all of these. I have to fight for the highest points in all these locations. Thanks, Chris. Good friend.
I got you. I've done nothing to hurt you.
It's surprising. Well, because I had such a horrible first turn. That's why.
It's what it was.
All right, next up.
That's what it
was. It's me.
Yep.
It's a me.
Just because we haven't run into any of these yet, that Silent Steppers card that came up, that requires 5 resources to build 2 of the potions. I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. It's worth how many points?
20.
Nice.
Like, not much. Just a few.
Quite a few.
2-3 points. I mean, no big.
This seems pretty expensive for 20 points, though.
Now it is.
So yeah, so everybody dives into the commissary for that 1 gold.
Gotta get that gold.
They be diving.
All right. Time to get serious.
And it's very likely that a raid's going to happen after this round. So.
Yeah. You can pretty much guarantee it, I think.
Yeah.
All right, well. Let's do... Oh, I don't know.
This is not easy.
Well, I think it's your turn.
Yeah. We'll do that. And that. And actually, you know what? He's face up. He's face down. Okay. Back to Chris.
All right.
I'll tell you. So strategically, what's freezing me is the normally when most strategy games I'll play, like there's a single step to the strategy.
Chris, you're up.
And that's just more of like the kind of games that I become attracted to. But this game, there's and role play are similar, but there's definitely a long play, but also there's a lot of medium plays in strategy here, because the steps to, for example, this boot card over here, the Silent Steppers, it's not a clear cut, one and done, like, oh, if I do this, I'll get that. It's if I do this and then I do that, and as so long as he doesn't do that, and and then then you're looking at your resource pool and you're like, oh, is that going to be too many? Am I going to end up with too much? Am I going to be wasting effort in that? And I think that's one of the cool things about this, is that it's just not a cut and dry type strategy. There's multiple levels.
Yeah, it's good to have kind of a backup plan for the round. Like, this is what I really want to do. Okay. But if that doesn't work out, at least I can still do this thing.
Okay.
Like, this is a good one, because, like, okay, you want to get the Silent Steppers, but, like, if you don't get the scrap you need, then you can still build the skeleton key. And if you don't get the blue you need, you can still build the eye or the chameleon amulet. So actually, there's a lot of kind of backup plans there.
Yeah.
But if you can get that Steppers card, it's a big deal.
Right. And I mean, so and the thing, like, I'm slightly at a disadvantage because I have no potion, but the two Chris's are sitting on a decent stockpile of potions right now.
Right.
So they could more readily step into those steppers. Now, the funny thing is, strategically in their head now, they can look and say, okay, well, we could take Will completely out of the running for those steppers by blocking him in the infirmary this turn. But is it worth it? Because, for example, Chris Cornell already dropped his Lookout, which he'll be picking up 3 suspicion, which he obviously isn't going to want on the onset of a raid. So it's really cool that there's multiple levels going on here. And the funny thing is,
and you could always just, like, dump a bunch of guys in the cell block and reserve that card before they could build it, if you really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good thought too. I keep forgetting about the reservation.
It is. I'm sorry, Will. It's your turn. Or not Will. Keith's turn.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
Keith's turn. Thank you.
Whatever name is.
Whatever name you want to call me, it's cool.
I mean, it's there's an excuse if I confuse the two Chris's, but if you confuse Will and Keith, I mean, now we're in a whole different ballgame here.
I'm just gonna start calling Magic.
There you go.
Fine. I'll respond to it.
Magic is not a bad nickname.
No, it's really not.
No, it's not.
That is not a bad nickname.
Totally not doing that. Go ahead.
That's all you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one face down. So I can still put one face down. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Is that all you're putting, Chris?
That is. That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Does anybody know how many people we got in the joining Discord for the competition for the premium? Oh,
right.
Perfect.
Right. Yep. So 6 names in the drawing. I will just throw it out there again. I know that everybody in chat that we see, but there might be some lurkers out there. So if you guys are interested, we're giving away a Tabletopia Gold account. And that is going to be following the stream. All you have to do is join our Discord. And do they have to say anything, Matt? Okay, but once they join Discord, they just have to join. There's nothing they have to say. Okay. So send at Geekspiel a PM or just in Twitch say that you've entered for that giveaway
with your Discord name so that we can
with your
message
Discord
you
name,
properly.
Yes. Which, oh yeah.
Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I'll set you up. Do you like the new the new scene? My design spaceship, basically. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Do you hear me, Keith? It's your turn.
Great, thank you. Done.
All right, so is there a Ratman? So both of those Ratmen will remove a suspicion, right? They won't migrate it.
It's just return to the supply.
They will remove it. But I'm only allowed one item per turn. Yeah, whatever. Bam. There we go.
Hey, puppy. You doing?
All right, Chris.
I'm out.
I think
Oh, okay. I've
Red.
got 2.
that's 2. I have 1.
Yes, the Chris's are both first and second at the moment in the game. With Chris Cornell with a slight lead
Of 1 point.
that he was gloating about.
I got to take it when I can get it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Keith.
That's it. I will take my
Red first, right?
Oh,
Actually,
yeah. No, yeah.
So
Well, insult or injury on this one right here. Just it's actually not bad. I'll take those 3 blue definitely.
all right.
Okay,
So I get
But
my
I'll
1
wait
power.
till we get there.
yeah, blue. You take your power, and you already still have the star player token.
Yep.
Yep. Go ahead, Keith. So you get the 3, and I get 2.
Yep. Sweet.
Yeah, I was to say, Will, you spent a lot on that one. But
I did. I needed a
You needed the blues.
influx of cubes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So did you take your 3 blues?
I'm going to let me get these things off the board.
Big reveal.
Ooh.
You spent big. You spent big.
I did.
You wanted that iron.
I wasn't sure that I needed to, but I better safe than sorry.
So Will and I did the same thing here, but I'm next in line, so I get to pick for free.
Red gets the free one.
All right, Will.
You also get the suspicion.
Yeah, you do.
I do,
Take that
yes.
suspicion, baby.
Here you go.
All right. I am going to trade a blue for a gold.
Keith, how many are you dropping?
I guess I'm taking all. Well, I'm going to take these 2 Ratmen.
Nice.
So
And they go to your suspicion go to the pool, right?
yeah.
You're rocking triple Ratmen, so that's going to score you 6 points currently. And end game.
Whatever.
I'll take care of those for you.
Whatever.
Whatever. Where's my Ratman over here?
And the shield icons, or the icons that you see on some of these cards, when would they pay out, or do you need a specific card to
So
pay
there's there is like a, you know, that card that you have with the most dwarves or whatever. There's one of those for the most shields as well.
Oh, okay.
And then there's there's a demon in the goon deck, just like the one that I have for the gems. There's one for the shield.
So I'm just hoping for something like that to come up at this point with my set collection. Got it.
All right. So if I do that.
What is the 4-star after the 8-star under Smith? Or to the right of the Smith card? There's like 2 stars.
Probably a second place.
Second place? Got it.
Yeah. So second place gets 4 points. First place gets 8.
Cool.
I'm just going to take the first.
It's not right.
So you took the shoes?
I went. I went.
And were you able to purchase them yet?
Yeah, he's got it.
You had the gold?
Yeah, I already put it in.
Yuck. Who's next? Me? Or actually it'll be you, Keith.
Keith.
You're gonna be next.
I'll build this sweet thing.
And that gives you 1 iron?
I pay 1 iron.
Oh, pay 1 iron.
So I go up 20.
And I will purchase this key and build it.
Could take that cube away, Chris, and keep everyone, like all of you would lose 2 points instead of you losing 4. Oh, you don't have a gold. Never mind.
I don't have a gold, no.
I thought you picked it up.
But from what I remember, I can instead drop down to the library and take something there, right?
Yep.
And what does this mean? I get 2 cards?
Draw 2, pick 1, and discard.
Draw 2 and pick 1. Okay.
Interesting. Chris, you are showing us every part of this board. I just like from the corner of my eye, I just
saw his card pop up, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's whatever.
I won't look over there.
Yeah, I have my hand up.
You know when someone tells you not to look and they drew attention to it?
Exactly.
It's kind of what Will just did to you right there. It was like, oh, look at how big this board is. It's like, oh, let me look. And
so do I put this like face up down here?
Yep. Okay, that's the end of the round, I think.
That is the end of the round. Let's put those cards out and see what kind of disaster befalls us.
Yeah.
Why on earth do I have a 2 next to my hand now?
Oh, we survive, or at least the raid doesn't trigger, surprisingly enough here. Or does it? No, it does, doesn't it?
No, it does. Yeah.
It does. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay, so let's see who's got the most.
I do, so I will go back 8.
Red goes back 8. Blue goes back 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And then all the suspicion goes back to the center.
Wow.
I really don't like this 2 next to my hand. Okay, it's gone away now.
All right.
Oh, it's because you had cards in your.
Those boots were a massive advantage.
Well, I mean, it was because I also had a lot of stuff, so I didn't have to do much for it.
Right.
And I was looking at all the other things I could have done because I could have fought, Will for those 2 Ratmen and potentially what the heck just happened.
Well, I wasn't going for those rat men. Are you talking about earlier, like in an earlier round?
No. Well, so I could have knocked down to 0 suspicion by picking up the chameleon amulet and trying to discard.
Oh, right.
But
right.
It, to be honest, it wouldn't have done anything comparatively.
No, you had to go for those boots.
I still got the advantage of it was a bigger point swing to just take the loss.
Yeah, you definitely had to go for that.
A teeth
Now, Keith,
brush.
Okay, so everything came back first, and then we replaced.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Oops. Sorry.
All right. Chris, is everything done?
I think we're good to go.
Is Chris still first player?
Yeah,
He is, and I'm fine with it. He can keep it up.
Of course you are. You're the second one. You're gonna have advantage the whole game. God, my anger. It's okay, Will. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Just keep telling yourself that way.
It's all right. It's all right. So go ahead. Take it away, Chris. Make me nauseous with your camera work.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, my anger just caused me to put that little jab in there. That's all. See, now I'm getting self-conscious, so he's going to try not to look at anything
I
on his
was
table.
trying to do it to begin with, but it's like, all right. Let's see.
So next round is our final round.
Yep, this is the penultimate round, as they say.
Penultimate, very good. Perfect word choice for that. So Keith, like we said, we sometimes have designers that watch the VODs, and sometimes they're actually watching live too. And I should say hobby designers that aren't really in the industry yet. Do you have any advice for them? Like, what kind of advice would you give? To sort of put them on the path to not necessarily where you are at this point, but to success within the industry.
Yeah, I mean, first you have to figure out what your goals are. Like if you're just like a amateur designer that you're just trying to make a cool game and see where it goes, or if you're, the piece of advice that I hear all the time that I totally agree with is like, especially when you're like somebody who has an idea, right. You have to kind of realize that ideas are cheap, and it's like what you have to do is you have to get out a piece of paper and you start making stuff so you can move them around and kind of start figuring out your game. Like, don't try to design the whole game in your head or in spreadsheets. Yeah. Like, make it playable as fast as you can. I often start with that. Oops. Is it my turn, by the way?
Yeah.
So the first piece of advice is get the ideas when you feel you have a good idea, get it out of your head, not only on paper, but try to build some type of workable prototype as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a good idea.
Right.
Just like you can just. The thing is, like, once you start developing and you start iterating, whatever your original idea is probably not going to be there anymore. You'll have changed so much of it that it doesn't really matter where you started. I had a master plan. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna execute on it.
Go ahead.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Huge.
Sorry. Huge. There you go. There's a 5. Get it as playable as quickly as you can. Remember, all your friends are going to say it's great when it's not.
Very true.
It's like the mom complex, the mom rule, right?
Yeah.
Well, they also, I think there's a hidden motivation in a lot of friends' minds is, oh my God, if he makes it, then that'll open a lot of doors for me.
Well, I think it's like you just want to see your friends succeed.
Yeah.
I think you're willing to overlook flaws.
That's true.
And it's like, and when I play a game, I'm like, wow, why would I want to play this game over the 200 I have sitting behind me? You know, it's like, It's got to be different. And sometimes you find that difference along the way, and sometimes you start with that difference. But, yeah, I mean, playtest like crazy.
Yeah, that's and like on an average, like your average game, how many playtests would you say you go through?
Well, I mean, it depends on like how many iterations you do. You know, it's like, like once you're kind of done making major changes and you're just tweaking stuff.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like a good 200 plays, you can have a pretty strong feeling on how it is.
Chris, I think it's your turn.
Like,
what's the most important? You know, this is a question even for me. What's the most important question to ask a tester that plays through your game?
I mean, usually I don't put a whole lot of value in answering questions. Like, it's more just like watching them play.
Okay.
And you can kind of see where people are frustrated, or you can see where things aren't flowing as smoothly as you would like. Because the thing is, people will give you, like, they'll tell you about some problem that they didn't, you ask them, like, hey, what didn't you like about the game? What was the, your least fun part?
Done.
Go ahead, Keith.
Oh, it's my God. Thank you. Yeah. I like to think so. Yeah. What was the most frustrating part? What was the where didn't it flow as well as you would like or whatever? But people will tell you the problem they have, and then they'll tell you like how they think you should fix it. Yeah. And you should totally ignore that part, right? Because nobody understands the way your game works the way you do. And people don't understand all the knockdown effects and like all the things you've tried before, which may be exactly what they're asking for. So you just do a lot of listening. Like, don't get defensive about your game. Don't try to tell people why you think they're wrong or whatever.
Perfect. Yeah.
You just listen and take notes and then figure out what changes you might want to make. And especially at the end of the project, it's tough to figure out, like, every potential change is like you're trying to figure out if it's like an increase in quality or
Chris Cornell, go ahead. Sorry,
going backwards, or if it's a sidestep. So like on Roleplayer, there was at the very end, there was like, I changed the way the market worked. I didn't like the way it worked, so I came up with I was given two separate ideas, and I came up with two separate systems of how it should work.
Yep.
And I went down one path, and it was a total dead end. So I lost like an entire 2 weeks of work. And then I came back and went down the other way, and that totally worked. So that's what we ended up doing. So, yeah, I mean that happens in game development, but it's always the hardest part about developing games is like, especially when you get to the part where it's playable and you're getting feedback from people, is who to listen to and who not to. Because
and also and hiding the frustration that sort of generates on your end. It's like the players have frustration. And that you can see that when you're at the table, but then when somebody comes at you with feedback that is frustrating because it's not, in a way, it's not effective, but you can't show that, right? Because they're also potentially a customer in the future. So and a potential fan. And I think that, like, if the attitude you bring to the table when you're testing is a negative one, then it's going to affect people's perception of you.
Right, and they're not going to want to playtest your stuff again. And it's like, when you find playtesters, you want to hold on to them.
Yes, you do. Amen to that.
Go ahead, Will. All right, Keith.
Oh, thanks. Because
yes,
I've burnt out a few people. Because people don't have as much stamina for testing my stuff as I do.
Well, and the thing is,
because you're invested too. We're willing to put more time into it than someone else who doesn't have a stake in it.
And it's not a finished game. And how many play testings do players end up frustrated in early prototypes? It's pretty often, because the person you're playing against is winning, Now, you could separate yourself. If you're a good tester, you separate yourself from that and just say, I'm here to contribute and let you know when I'm frustrated and not like take it as, oh, I lost to this person. But there are times when like you might tweak something and the last time they played, they're like, oh, wait a second, that does that now? Oh, come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seen that happen in play testing, especially if you repeat the same testers over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is it my placement?
It's green.
Yes.
Yeah, so my placement. Okay, yellows were okay. I'll do. I'm just thinking here. Yeah, I'll do that. And go ahead.
Send me then.
Yes.
Yes, you are up. I appreciate you being candid with your response. I think those are all great answers too, Keith.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, at some point, you have to decide whether you want to try to shop it to publishers or if you want to try to self-publish. And there's like, there's a point in which like the game feels like it's done.
Done.
Do I start getting artwork done, or do I start like preparing it for pitching? Because like, publishers they're going to have their own art and stuff. They don't want to see you invest a lot of artwork that they're going to have to throw away. Yep. And also, the more artwork you put on it, the more, especially when you're playtesting, the more I find you're less willing to try new things, right? So if you make this amazing looking prototype and you're like, hey, this part's broken, you should change it. And like inside of their brain, they're like, but I'd have to redo all the graphic design that I did. It's like,
right.
Well, that's not servicing the game when you do that. So,
but I think there's also a point within testing where like you have to move to symbology rather than text because the cards don't have enough space.
Sure.
And like and there's to get the point across about what happens in a turn. That might be a frustrating point for players that you have to test out of, and then you're forced into like, okay, I have to figure out an icon for this. That's a good placeholder, but will also carry out to the final design. Because again, you don't want to waste resources on something that's not going to carry to final design.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of free icons out there, and like you can beg, borrow, and steal from other games.
Yep.
I mean, the other thing is, it's easier to get playtesters to playtest your game when it looks nice, which is the opposite, competing thing. So there's like this delicate balance of like, it looks clean, but like, it's easy to change if you need to.
And for you, do you have a very close group of playtesting friends, relatives, or even like a small network that you've generated over time?
Go ahead.
Or do you like publicly call for playtesters whenever you're in development?
No, I mean, I've got like a regular playtesting group.
No, Keith, not you, Chris.
I thought you said Chris.
Is it my turn?
Keith's turn.
Yeah, it's Keith's turn.
All right, thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry to be distracting, but I like to pick designers' brains and publishers' games.
I enjoy it. It's fine.
Right. So our producer just said, he has no chance of winning now, and I find it funny because we always do this to Will and to our guest. Is Will asks them a billion questions, so Will's thinking of questions and he's answering them the whole time, and I typically just swoop in, thinking and taking these long turns.
And you'll notice too, like if even like mid episode, if you guys go back on a VOD, you can watch like Chris is like this, like just hunkered down, staring down at like his hand is like this, and here I am like with a smile, asking as many questions as I could think. The designer's trying to be cordial and nice, and Chris is in there just hacking away.
It's Green's turn, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, Will, it's your turn.
Okay, so yeah, perfect example right there. So I have I have two face down, so I'll drop this guy over here. Oh God, you didn't see that?
No, I don't think we did.
Thank God. Okay. Go ahead. I have one left. I have one card remaining.
All right. So it's my turn now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Go.
So as we're again at the penultimate turn here, the artwork I'm loving. Just it's so similar to Role Player in some regards and different in other regards. Like this map or this the main board is more like lore from the universe that we didn't get from Role Player, because Role Player was an awesome mechanic game, but there wasn't a lot of storytelling in it. And we liked it in a way because we could tell our own stories from it.
Right.
But you always want what's happening within this universe, within this world, and this gives a more better glimpse into that, especially with the way that the art came out is designed here.
Yeah, so the same artist that did a lot of the Monsters and Minions artwork did all the artwork in this game.
Okay.
Nice.
So he did John Ariosa did all of the base game. And then for the expansion, John did some stuff, including he did the cover and all the monsters, but all the minions and most of the market cards were done by this new guy named Lucas Ribierto. He's in Brazil, and he did this entire game. So it's like one of the Bugbear guys specifically. I forget which number it is. Like he's almost like. Is like he took the Bugbear that he did in Monsters and Minion and like started that as a starting point for the Bugbear for this game, and then he's like built around that to kind of build the family of bad guys. So
perfect.
Yeah, it turned out really good.
By the way.
Oh, okay.
All right, and then I have my last one.
This is a really interesting spread right now. I'm looking at the board. Oh, that's funny. Interesting.
Okay, so we're ready to review.
Okay, so first reveal. That guy is worth 3. 3.
Okay.
So I get a red.
Chris stays first player, which I'm happy.
Yep, he does.
Well, and again, that's Chris has been gaining reds, right? So it's not a horrible strategy, right?
Right.
But he's also been keeping that first player mark, and so I haven't had to fight.
Right.
It's not like Keith's been fighting for it.
Right.
Jump in there.
The first round, I fought for it, then I let it go.
Yeah. Okay, and Chris, you grabbed your red.
I did.
Okay. So Keith's taking that suspicion.
I grabbed the suspicion and the 3. These things.
3 green.
I'm taking 1. Chris, you get 2, right?
Yep.
One thing that I noticed too, I like how the score tracker is actually chain links.
That's
so cool.
Yeah.
It is. It's exactly the same size.
Okay, so the question was, is the role player box is this the same size as the role player box? And Keith's response was yes, it is.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Keith, you get 3 potions.
Oh,
and
man, that's good.
Will gets 1.
I get 1.
And you get the suspicion as well, Keith.
All right. Sounds good.
Sounds great.
All right, and I take the suspicion here and the 2 iron.
I get the 1 iron.
What do we got going on over the commissary over here? That's a
Chris
5.
5.
Yep.
So
I get it.
Yeah,
you get it for free.
Oh, force me to do 2 for 1.
That minion becomes super powerful.
It did.
That
It
spot.
became really powerful. Yeah.
The
question is, what do I need? I need that gold. I need the gold. Where the gold at?
I'm doing 2 2 green for 1 gold.
All right.
Oh, were there more than?
There's
How many people were on that location? 3 of us.
3 of us, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris
what
had
is
first, Keith had
red?
second, and Will had third.
Yeah.
So Keith, you had a
So
had the trade.
red
figured
has
1 for 1.
first. Red has first. I have second. Keith has
Something else.
Keith has third. Or sorry, is yellow Keith? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Keith, you have third here.
So I'm gonna spend 4. And I am going to take the dwarf, which gives me a green.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the demon.
Shit. Sorry. Oh
gosh, a wind! Like it was some kind of feedback on your there. Our producer, I just need to call it out. Our producer said, "Chris, it feels good when you upset someone like that, right?" And I said, "Yes."
Oh my god! Look at that! Look at that!
So yeah, so that was mine. I do get the suspicion.
So I'll send both of these guys to the library.
I'll take this rat man.
Yeah. Give that man. That's a big jump for you. What's that? 13?
Oh man, that's annoying. That is annoying.
All right, Keith, you buy first. Or not Keith. Will. Gosh, darn it. I've done it both ways now.
So I can reserve. Let's see. So I mean, that's
this tells us what he's going for here soon. So
I can grab the quick 8 right now, or I can reserve this and get it buy it in the last round, or try to buy.
Well,
it in
you
the last
hope
round.
you get it right. You got to have, the
what
resources for it. You need 3 green and 2.
I can reserve it, right?
Yep.
You can reserve it, absolutely.
So
I'm just saying, like that's a big resource jump for one turn.
But considering that you're taking it out of play is what you're doing,
right?
Because odds of you actually being able to purchase it next round are slim. Possible, but slim.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
All right,
but you are getting 19 points out of play at least.
Chris,
you paid your resource for that.
1 resource, is it?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
I was gonna say, assume it's not the gold. So
right.
Now I do have a question because I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy this card. I was going to buy the other one, but will.
But reserve, yeah.
This card that I have right here, substitute 1 resource requirement when making an item.
Yeah.
Does that mean that I get to disregard a resource, or do I make it change into something else? Because it says substitute something.
Substitute into something else. So you could pay 2 greens and a gold to get that, for example.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I've updated the text on a lot of these cards for the final version, by the way.
Okay, so what you see here is not the.
So I am going to buy that.
Okay.
And I am going to. Yeah, I'm going to do.
Chris, you came in with that stinger, man. That was really my only opportunity. And what killed me too is I knew you were going to go for it because you got those boots. Had you not got those boots, then I wouldn't even have to worry about you going
right.
To look at it. But just by you acquiring those 2 shields, knowing that you're going to benefit well enough from it and be able to get me in the same swoop.
Right.
And by 1 point too. You beat me by 1 point in that little area over there.
All right.
It is my purchase if I want it.
Did you move the right marker on the score track?
No, I didn't.
You sure didn't. You put me in first. I was in 30. I don't remember where I was. Move back. How many was it? Yeah. Feels bad, man. That's 35.
Is that 35 or
It's
34?
It's 34. Yeah.
I'm so used to playing as green.
I usually play green too, so I feel your pain.
Trying to think if it's worth what I want to do.
Yeah, that would have been 8 points alone with the demon there. Darn, that's just painful. That was a painful burn right there.
I am going to reserve the chameleon amulet.
All right. I'm going to build this eyeball.
The eyeball, you say?
Yes.
All right. Will, take your 2 cards and discard one.
Okay.
Nope. You took.
All right.
Okay. I took mine.
So, question, I'll tell you the name of the card and then you tell me what that means in a way. Big book of stealth.
Sure. Well, let me read you what I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do this is.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, is it an additional token outside of the ones I own, or I guess I don't really understand because during roll call is the first phase of the game or the first phase of the like when everything comes out, right?
Yeah, let me. I'm pulling up the new version of the text on that one.
Okay.
To see if it's any clearer.
I'm gonna just throw it out there because it's the last round anyway, and if I'm not playing it, I'm not playing it.
The updated version says you may assign 1 additional crew token face down.
So you have 3 face down tokens.
Got it,
Instead
and
of 2.
I'll be playing that during this. So 3 face down.
Okay. So are we good on the library? Everybody got?
Yep. Or no, the next person has to get theirs. Wait, who was the second person?
I got mine.
You got yours? Okay, we're good to go then.
So this guy goes away. Last round.
Last again. Here we go.
Cultist with a potion. Dwarf with a tome card. Cultist with a gold. And a rat man.
Oh, 4 stealth in the first 2. Glorious.
So yeah.
So that's...
So those stars, you can give a suspicion. That Spellslinger gives you a power cube.
Okay.
And keep in mind, after this round, we're going to do a final raid.
Right.
So. And start with blue.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. Okay.
Is that the Chow Hall?
That's where I buy items, right? Or buy people?
Yep.
Goons?
That's where you're buying
All right.
things, yeah.
That's where you buy people.
It's where slavery, right?
That's where I slavery. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
I assume that I'm not paying them. I don't know.
I think it's a pretty solid assumption.
They're prisoners. Yeah, I mean.
So
It's my turn.
yellow and red are at 2. Is there anything that it immediately will shuffle? Ratman will be able to distribute 1 from them.
There's 2 item cards that also have suspicion affecting things.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 green ones are at the bottom.
Yeah, I see that.
Keith, it's your turn. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, man. I had a plan.
Iron cards. Chris is at 2 iron cards. Blue is at 3.
Done. Job's done.
Job's done.
It's Chris is only at 2 for that.
No,
because it's not per iron, it's items with an iron.
Are you sure?
Yep.
So it's only 2
most items with iron requirement. Okay, so 2 and 2, 2, and then got it. Mm-hmm. So only 1 there, huh, Chris?
What?
Over there on the infirmary.
Yes, only 1.
All right, we'll do. Go ahead. Side note: I played Terraforming Mars a few days ago. I don't think it was the way it was taught or anything like that. I didn't enjoy it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
I think it's a game that definitely fits a style. Whose turn is it?
It's Chris Cornell's.
Did you play with the card drafting between rounds or without it?
I did.
I like it better with the card drafting, but it definitely makes it longer. If like you're sensitive,
that might have been the length was definitely it for me.
Okay, if that's a concern, I would try it without that.
Yeah, that was definitely a factor.
I like it, but I haven't played in a year. So
yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is I have it in downstairs. I have it on my shelf, and I opened it, sleeved it, put it back on the shelf. I've not been able to play it with like anybody IRL, but online
right.
I played once, and it wasn't a great experience for me.
Huh.
I played it like maybe 5 or 6 times right when it came out, and I I picked up my copy for myself, and I bought the Meeple Realty insert, and I built that, and it looks amazing. And like, I put the cover on, and it's been sitting on my shelf since.
Got it. That's what happens.
Decisions.
Especially when so many games come out, and I think one of the things that I end up challenged with a lot of times, and Keith, you might be able to speak to this as well, because I'm sure you have a game group or try to have a game group on the side as well. But how often you have a group of games that just sit there because other games that your group enjoys more hit the table, and you're stuck with all these games that you really want to play, but your group isn't as receptive to trying them. Have you run across that? I'm sure you guys all have, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I have. My in-person group is a little bit more along like what I like. And I'm also a pretty I enjoy learning new games, and so I'm okay with someone saying, "Oh, I really want to get this game to the table." Sure, yeah, perfect. Because I haven't played all of the games, right? And so typically there's something new. They're also an adventurous group, so if I have a new game and it's something that's not like a Game of Thrones or a Battlestar Galactica length of game, they're typically like, yeah, because we typically get one of those big games in, and then a small one.
Just real quick. Okay, Blue's placing. Sorry, I just want to make
sure.
Wait.
It was a long, drawn out thought.
Hold on. Okay, it is your placement. I just wanted to make sure. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It was just the thought of, I'm the person who brings the new games. And so I can always work something new in if I want, because they're like, oh, we want something to supplement, Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh, cool. I have something that can be played in 45 minutes, right? And
got it.
We convince them.
And I think the fatigue, it's your turn, so you go ahead. I was just going to say the fatigue with, there's a learning fatigue that happens too. So you can only introduce X amount of games every, I'd say if you introduce a new game once a month, then the fatigue probably wouldn't accrue. But if you're, every time you guys get together, if you get together, try to get together once a week, and you're learning a new game every week, it's not even funny. It's just
it's like my regular game group, almost every single time I sit down, I'm playing something I've never played before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, we have a group. I mean, we play, there's maybe 15 to 20 of us, and at least one of the guys is he grabs the latest things coming out of Germany. He buys the German versions from Amazon DE, and he knows enough German to get by, and he loves having the greatest newest thing. And
so he's way into and he's probably, does he have
you're
sorry, could you hear me?
Yeah, not the last thing.
But he probably has he's probably a collector and has right?
Yeah.
Has
there's the heavy Euro guy who's always got the latest heavy Euro stuff, and then it's everybody just brings stuff, and then usually the newest stuff always gets, people are excited to try, and we learn stuff almost every time I sit down. I'm learning something new, which is nice. But then on the opposite week, I tend to go to a different group, and we play, Gloomhaven, which we've been playing, every week for 2 years now. But
that's great, though.
I kind of feel like I've.
Keith, it's your turn, by the way.
Thank you. I kind of feel like I've seen everything Gloomhaven has to offer at this point, so I think I'm personally ready to move on. But I just
not.
Yeah. So it's fine. It's fine.
I find it pretty sad that I'm the person bringing the new games to my game, and I'm they're always learning new games and everything like that. But I found that the best way for me to get by that, and this might be good thoughts for other people too, is if you can find a good rule set online, like a video, like a 6-minute video or a 10-minute video or something like that, send that to them a week before you bring the game, and maybe they'll watch it.
Right, because it's not. That's a definite hard maybe, because it doesn't always. It rarely happens.
How often are you waiting for someone to show up? Right. So even if we always did that too, or we played Game of Thrones or Civ or something like that. Something that takes a long time, and we just throw it out there and say, okay, cool. Like, you didn't watch the video? That's fine. Here's 10 minutes. Like, go watch it now. And so we always, there's ways around.
We just teach it every time.
Is it my placement?
Like, you know that if you're not there by 5:30, everybody's going to be in games, and you're just not going to play anything.
Right.
Is it my placement? I'm sorry, guys.
It should be green, I think.
That's
no, I was going to ask Keith, are you done?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I have to really think here.
Yeah. See, the last game that we learned how to play was like 2 weeks ago. We started playing Zolkin. Not sure if you guys know.
Yeah.
But, I actually really enjoyed that game. I just picked it up on a whim when I was traveling, and I called up our producer and I said, "Hey, do you know anything about this game?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a great game." I'm like, "All right, enough for me." So we bought it and put it together. Super intimidated by it, and then we started getting into it. Once we spent like 2 hours learning the rules, we actually picked up the next week, and we're like, "Yeah, man, this is fun."
Yep. Chris,
you gotta watch out for the corn strategy in that game, though.
The corn, oh my gosh, the corn is crazy. Like, everything is corn this, corn that.
Yeah.
What can I do to get more corn?
An experienced player can really slam a noob in that game. Yeah. I think the expansion helps a little bit with that, but
there's an expansion?
Yeah. At least one. That game was like the game everybody was talking about for like crazy, like 3 years ago.
Okay, well, yeah. I wasn't heavy into board games 3 years ago.
Whose turn?
Let's see. I believe it's mine. Apologize.
The expansion is called Tribes and Prophecies.
Everybody's taking notes now.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what?
What?
I'm all in here.
I don't know, actually. Why don't you tell me?
It's like a cliffhanger.
I don't know.
Meh.
Maybe.
Meh.
It's whatever.
Meh.
Is it my turn?
Yeah. Well, it's the next person after me, so normally you, yes.
It's normally me.
Oh no. Got some PRTG alerts.
Really, I need Keith and Will to do what I need to ask them if they're gonna, because it's one of those that go a couple.
It's Red's
look
turn.
Look at he's barreling down on everybody. This is what somebody clip this. Somebody clip the Chris Walters pose right now. He's zoned in like.
Well, it's typically it's like one of these. I'm just like, I sat like this for what was the Neverland game? What was it? Matt,
I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
The 2-player asymmetric. Keith brought that up earlier, and I was like, I love those games. But I sat there for like because there was a puzzle to it, and I'm like, I'm not moving on without finishing this puzzle. And so I got it at the very end, but it took me a hot minute. I mean, the brain was burning up with that one.
One thing that I find too is, and this is more of a personal
Keith,
reflection.
Turn, by the way.
Thank you.
But I'm a very social gamer. So when we sit down at the table to play a game, the reason I don't like really heavy strategy or heavy thinkers is because I just want to sit there, have a drink with buddies, chat, reminisce, talk about things that we're doing outside of the game. And the game is sort of, it's there as an accoutrement, it's not
as a vehicle for the conversation, for the socialization.
Right. And yes, every once in a while I could sit down and for a heavy thinker or something like that and enjoy it, but it can't be everything. Job's done. Thank you. That's perfect. That's a perfect cue for me to go. Job's done.
Wait, where did you? Oh, you're buying. Okay.
Oh, you're there. Oh
man, network's taxed at 100 megabit right now. Dang. It's eating that data.
Eating that data.
Pretty much. The Office. Nah, it's probably DPM. But
so I guess
I fear it's Keith with this set and creating this set here with his Ratman.
No doubt.
Go ahead, Chris.
What'd you do?
Chris.
I dropped the 2 right here. I really wish there were a ping function. Somebody write the devs. It's okay. It isn't fair. Sorry, the voices in my head were telling me a joke, guys.
Go.
Keith, I need to know what you're gonna do. We'll both.
All right,
Keith,
clip
tell me
that
your
picture
strategy.
right there.
All right. Is it my go?
No, it's mine. It's mine. It's fine.
That's why we're stressing so much.
So,
Pain. The pain with those strats.
at the end of last round, did somebody, this big book of stealth, did somebody play this card? Or did they discard
He was going to, but I don't know if he actually utilized. I don't know. If
I
he
did.
utilized
I did.
That's
There's three
discarded.
face down.
Are
Okay.
there?
There's three minor face down.
Oh, there it is. All right.
And you know that you can choose to not play that card and it's worth a point at the end, right?
Yeah, it's a fine. 1 point's not going to do anything for me at this point.
We'll see about that, I guess.
Yeah, right. Now watch it. It'll be like
1 point would have caused him to win.
I mean, the face down. I did need the face down, the 3 face down though, so that's why I played it.
All right. I don't have any cards to play. I don't know
It's
who's
Keith's
up.
turn.
Yeah, I have one final card to play, and I think Keith, how many do you have?
I have 3.
Wow, brutal, killing me here. Now I was fine. Then I'll like the beads of sweat and forming on my brow again.
This is so interesting because, like, again, if Keith completes that set, but like none of us have Ratman, so you're taking a -3 to keep Keith from getting 8.
Yeah.
Well, 25.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, there's a Ratman on the board? I didn't notice. I'm in 3rd place. You guys shouldn't worry about me.
Right.
That's
what
until he jumps to first.
And that's one of the great things that you do in your games. I have to you on that as well, is that the running strategy for the game is one aspect of it, but then there's that whole like whammy at the end where some of it's hidden information, most of it's public information like throughout the game. So as you're looking, you can look at the other person's board state and be like, okay, now he's going to bonus off shields. He already has the set for that, and the last turn normally, like this round, is essentially where you should be in your mind. I'm not here right now because so many other things have been going on during the stream, but where you should be is you should actually have a pretty clear idea of people's total scores with what they have facing, and then min-max to your highest potential score at this point. But outside of what the standard role player strategy, this one has extra moving parts because role player, you just look for that one market card that's going to give you the advantage in the last turn. This you're looking, okay, well, do I have any cards I have to build still? Do I have, how many resources will give me extra points here if I buy first? Yeah, whose turn is it? I'm sorry.
It's Keith's.
Are you serious?
Oh, sorry. I thought I told you.
Did you place your 2?
Yes, I placed.
Oh, you placed.
Well.
So Keith is down to...
I still have 3.
I've
placed 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, I have 1 tile left. Chris, are you your
I have 1 tile left.
You have
I have no tiles left.
All right. Well. There you go.
I don't think this is a good thing at this point. There's no way for me to get a conversion. I mean, I can hope. I'll hope for it. My last one's placed.
Keith, do you have one more?
I have one more. Yep. And you have one or
more.
Chris, are both of those two red? Both of those are tiles you have?
No, one's a tile, one's a card. One's a
Reserve card.
Reserve.
There's just enough places to visit, or spread the characters you have.
Yeah, there used to be an additional room.
Okay.
That there used to be a guard room where you could push suspicion around. And we have ended up kind of cutting that and moving those actions onto some of the goons.
Smart.
So that the tile placement per room was tighter.
Yeah.
More interesting.
Your turn, Keith.
Well, hey, let's do it.
Yeah, because you usually end up with one or two rooms out of your rotation based on the tiles you're placing. And I think if there was an extra room, that would be far like too much. I feel like as a player, I would feel like there's too much I'm not able to do. Like
yeah. In a 5-player game, everybody plays with one less tile, so it's not like overcrowded.
Oh, okay. Wow. What tile do you take out in a 5-player?
The number 2 guy.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, he's all bandaged up anyway. So.
Yeah, he's the weakest.
Right.
Weakest link.
Okay, that's everyone.
That's it.
Okay,
so
blue grabs
red cube, and I get first player
again.
Again. So that is 9 for mine on the green. So I get my 3 green.
And you get these 2 sweet black cubes.
I do get those amazingly cute black cubes.
So there are only 2 of us there, right? So I get 2, I think.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah, I'll bring you your cubes. Well,
thanks. I appreciate it.
All right.
Oh, good. I get 3 blue cubes,
yeah,
but I don't take the 2
blue.
You get what? I don't think so.
I'm last.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I'm
he is.
last.
Yeah, but he's last.
No, we both have lookouts, and I'm second in the turn order.
What? I thought that
Yeah,
was only to break a tie, not. No.
We're breaking a tie. We both have a
breaking a tie.
lookout.
Yeah,
But how
Who
does
goes to the library?
Doesn't first player get that then?
yeah. We're tied for last place, and then the tie is broken. I get it because
we're
I'm
tied
first
for
player.
last place. So you bump in order to middle player, and I am the very last.
I need a ruling.
There's actually a specific example in the rule book for this situation.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, what's Chris?
Blue goes to the library.
Oh, so it's the second. So second player actually trumps first player in that.
Because the last player is the one that gets the reward, not the second player.
Ah, you're kidding. That's garbage. I
Oh
disagree.
no, that's right. That's right. It's the last player. He read it wrong. That's what it was.
I was banking on that being the rule.
Yeah, and that's what the funny thing is. He didn't think of that. He didn't think of it. Go there.
All right. Well, I get first in this one.
Sorry, guys.
Nah,
It's all right.
it's what it is.
Sorry.
Learned hard last time. Learn hard this time.
Yeah, exactly. I could have won the game last if it wasn't for that. I get the freebie.
7 for red. Yep. I guess I should trade something in. Sure.
I'll trade 2 blue for.
So keep in mind the
Two at
blue,
the end.
the gray, and the green resources are worth 1 point at the end of the game, and the gold are worth 2. Unused library cards are worth 1. Oh, I probably should have told you guys this, but this actually
that gives me a free point right there.
The start player marker at the end of the game counts for 2 points.
Oh,
No.
yay!
Actually, that's gonna make me sad. he is just a few points behind me.
For now, till you just skyrocket.
I don't think it would have changed my choice, but all right, let's reveal. I'm curious to see all of this.
Yeah, that's 12.
Your fist and your yeah.
No, that's not 12. That's 11.
11.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what are you doing? Well, I know one of the ones you're picking up.
The Hobgoblin.
Yeah, that makes a bunch of sense.
Yep. So we're doing the Hobgoblin only.
Now, here's the question. Do you take the -3 to keep Keith from getting the 8?
No. The only thing that matters is that you don't win.
The only thing. That's the only thing.
The only thing.
No, I'm not going to take the negative. I'm going to take. My goal is to beat the Rhino.
Did you just take the one character?
I think that's all I'm going to take. Because I can't do my next action if I play out 3 more cubes.
Gotcha. Well, that leaves a lot more on the board than I thought there was going to be.
So yeah, this is going to be interesting.
6. Gosh, this is what's tough is am I worried enough about Keith that I need to do this?
I pose no threat.
1, 2, 3,
I swear.
That's what a threat says.
5, 6.
Exactly what a threat says.
It's got 6 points.
Keith, do I have to wait till this phase to actually equip this, or could I pay it now? The one I reserved.
You're supposed to do it when you're in the cell block. I mean,
okay.
What kind of information? Yeah, you should probably wait. I mean, I guess it's like
right, and I wouldn't, just because I reserved it. So for me to take this out of reserve, I have to use the action I built in here, right? I can't.
Correct. Right.
Okay, so I can't get another item this round. I can only build the one I reserved last round.
Buy an item.
Got it.
We're currently, Chris, you're building or you're gooning.
Yes, I'm gooning.
Does he take the Rat Man
to prevent that 25 points?
It would allow him to send one of his cubes over to someone else. So that Rat Man is a dual purpose, but it will remove points from him because it would be his only Rat Man.
Mm-hmm.
So is him losing 3 points worth the exchange?
Well, as of right now, you guys would all split the points, right?
That's not going to happen, though.
Yeah, things are going to change.
Yeah, he's definitely going to acquire. Well, he's doing goons now, but there's items here that are going to change that too.
Yeah.
And God knows what he has in his little library.
Sorry. I'm min-maxing here. That's what's happening.
Our wonderful producer Matt just asked if Chris was min-maxing or if he fell asleep at the keyboard.
I've done both. You know what? I'm going to decide that God, 25 points is so much.
It is a lot of points, yeah.
25 points plus 6. What buys? Oh. But am I willing to let, because my fear is then that lets Chris win.
Analysis paralysis.
You're actually worried about me.
it.
I'm not going to come close.
I can't afford it. That's the problem. Is I can't afford to do it that way.
Honestly, because you can't afford to potentially lose to me twice or 2 weeks in a row.
Exactly.
I think that's the real question. Not that I'm anywhere going to be close to it.
I'm contemplating like scrapping this 19-point card just to send a cube over Chris's his tableau over there with one of the items on the thing.
Nice. That's not nice.
Just to give you that win, Mr. Cornell.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to spend 1 cube, and I'm going to play selfish, and I'm going to pick up the dwarf.
There you go.
And I'm going to draw one of these.
You see, right there, I can't match because, like, you just picked up what 4 of them. 1, 2, 3.
See, you got,
right there.
And I'm going to go ahead and play this.
And you got mesmerized by the insta mechanics, the insta points, and and you didn't pay attention to the engine build, where Chris sort of spread it. Or the other Chris spread it.
Yeah, I definitely didn't do it the way I should. But
Keith, you said it was 1 point for those cards.
I'm clear to start building goons, right?
Yeah. Yes, you said there's 1 point for those cards.
The library.
The hold on.
Library cards are 1 point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to make sure. Go ahead, Keith. Sorry.
All right. No worries.
I think Keith's gonna sneak it in though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I'll take the stupid rat man.
Yeah.
So who wants the suspicion, huh?
I think you should go to Chris. He was so willing to.
No,
give it to me.
I think what should happen is Walters needs to be in 3rd place, minimum.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're not.
No,
This
helping Will means it could potentially bump Will up again in place.
Oh my god.
That just happened.
Yeah, it guarantees me last place.
Buy first.
All right, so that's
Keith buys first.
Well, he's gonna build that 19-point card, so
and then
but you build first,
right? But I mean, I don't really have I have like the weakest engine. Well, I'm sorry, Chris. Cornell has the weakest engine.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm building.
I have
right?
the second.
Yes, you are.
I don't know this.
I don't know. Because you're sitting at, what is that, 25 points in Ratman.
I don't know.
Yep.
And then
I feel like I
had 2.
All right, I'll take man. Feels like a mistake, but I'm gonna take the teeth brush so that nobody else can take it from me.
Teeth brush, love it.
Yep. And I think that Chris? I have to go for the 10-point plus the power cube.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yep. And so that's one of those.
I'm going to build the card I had in reserve, which lets me remove a suspicion cube from my...
Okay, so the question is, do I take... yeah, I don't... I mean, I'm going to lose anyway, so I'm not... I might as well bring
Don't do this.
So I got to bring somebody down in a fiery... fiery.
This is why.
I can't do it. Don't worry. I can't do it. Relax. I can't do it. It's this card down here. Just relax. I can't do it. So I have to build this.
Build your 19-pointer. That's a big point swing for you.
I feel like the special child who who didn't compete as well as everyone.
You did well.
That's a big point swing for you, Will.
I actually bet you come in third here. I forgot to jump my points.
So yeah, move me 19 where that does.
I think you should be at 53, right?
Well, I just moved to blue, so that's
19 from 34, or 19 plus 34.
6, 7, 8.
Shouldn't we be moving the green score marker?
I'm at 53. Yeah.
All right. Where were you supposed to be?
Yeah, I just bumped myself up to 56.
Did you get your 4, Keith?
I got my 4, yeah.
Oh, and the other question I have is, I don't have to. This last cube I have, do I have to spend that to build it too?
No.
Or okay, if it was in reserve, I just have to pay.
No, if you're building it straight up.
Got it.
All right, so then blue takes their card.
Library. You get to pick 2. 2 pick.
I suspect it won't matter much, but
Oh man.
Okay. So, am I able to play it now?
No, you just keep it as a point.
Because I mean, it could return someone's power marker to their supply.
That's not going to hurt anyone, though, but you.
Yeah, you can play it if you want to, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah.
And you're just throwing a point away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that everything?
All right, so then we're doing final scoring here, I think.
Well, first the
we're
raid.
gonna do the raid, right?
The
I
raid.
8. So.
Are Chris and Keith? Are you at 0?
Yeah.
So you lose 4.
I do not actually. I'm gonna return my suspicion cubes to the.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
so
good.
then I guess technically we're all tied for second.
Yes.
Huh?
All of us have 0 suspicion.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So you guys all take.
We all lose 2.
Split 4.
Chris,
So
you jerk.
I mean, it doesn't change anything for the 3 of us.
Still,
All right.
it reduces my overall score.
So
Hey,
you
50.
you get 1 point for every regular resource, like a iron potion or scrap, and then 2 points for every gold. So I get 4 points for that.
So are we doing this in order or all at the same time?
Let's
However
just
you want
one
to do
at
it,
a
I don't
time.
care.
Well,
Keith,
first figure out.
Keith,
Do we
you go
figure out
first.
Smith first?
Okay.
And these guys.
Well,
So
Hoarder
Smith-
doesn't count.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
So I count 3 on Chris Cornell's.
Yep.
that
I have
required
2.
irons.
I got 1.
And
So
I
get the
had
4.
I only had 1 as well. So Chris Cornell gets 8,
8.
and Chris Walters gets 4.
Okay.
All right, so I got my 8.
And then I'll go ahead and get my 8 from. So
Did you get 8 from?
I get from my Mountain King card.
Oh.
Your what card?
Most dwarves. It was the middle score point.
The award card, yeah. And you got your points for the second place on the Smith card.
4.
Yeah, I moved up 4 for that, and then 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then
'cause I
just your
was like,
resources, and then your goons.
So Keith, why don't we do this one at a time? Why don't you go ahead and bump your points up?
Yeah,
I
we
already,
can
I already
start-
took
start
my
with
points
that.
for my resources.
Mhm.
So then my Ratman is going to get me 25 points. I'll just take those.
67.
Is that what the answer is?
Yeah, 40 plus 25 is 65 plus 2 more.
It's 42. Yeah.
Yeah, 67.
Thank you. And then
That wasn't a huge jump.
that wasn't too bad.
Also, did you
And then I get 4 points for my demon.
You get 6 points
You
for your
get
demon.
6 because one of the Ratmen had.
Oh yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Yep.
Oops. One. Damn it. 1, 2, 3. Just
Malfunctions on our microphones this evening. Strange.
And then
All these words with meanings.
Is that all the scoring?
I'm just pulling up the rule book one last time on final scoring.
You have a point though for the card you didn't spend, right? Oh, that's a reserve card.
That's a reserve card, yeah. It says tome cards, resources, goons, first player marker. That's it.
Okay.
So that's
Will?
my final score.
All
See how
right,
close you
so I have 3 items times 3, so 9 points. That's it. Oh, and what is this resource worth anything?
What is it?
Blue.
It's a potion. It's worth 1 point.
One blue. It's 1 point.
So 10 points. That's
okay. Chris?
All right, so I get 2 for resources. All right, and then I have 7 points, so 7 for powers because of my hobgoblin.
Yeah. 71.
Do I get anything for items, like having a certain number of items or anything?
No, but you get 2 points for your star player token.
2 points for
get
start
1 point
player
for your
token.
unused
and
coin or card.
All right.
Yeah.
And you got your 2 points for your
I
resources.
did get my 2 points for the resources. Yep.
And what about this? You got your 1 point for this
I
card?
got one point for that and 2 points for start player.
So I have
Right.
3 points for my resources. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for that, and then it is 12 points for my 4 dwarves. So
Dang.
and I think that's it.
So in tried and true tradition, the host loses. The the designer is second to last place, and you guys come out with the points on top.
Well, and again, I love Keith. Keith, I hope you come back over and over and over again. But this is twice now that Keith's been on the show, and twice now that I've beaten Keith.
I never win. Wow. It's just the way it works.
But I mean, that's pretty much it. So like we'll do a quick roundup. Is everybody cool with that? Do we have time?
Yeah.
So I'll start with we'll start with the winner, and then the frustrated loser will be the last one. How's that sound? Go ahead,
So
Chris.
I think it's very thematically connected, not just in the story like Keith talked about with what he wants to go future, but also it still has that feel of the very like the gold and stuff, the color scheme and the items with the point conditions. There's the set collecting, there's the get to for each of these that you have, and so it feels very reminiscent in some ways of Role Player, which I like. So not only the lore that you create in the backstory, but also just the game itself. And it's a fun, like Will said, it's calculating, right? And so you can know kind of pretty early on who's going to win, in that last 2 turns, right? Like who's up top and who's not. But I think also the secrecy of the piece of it too could have taken it a lot of different ways, right? So like there's a couple of times, Will said that one time where I grabbed that infirmary card or something from him, all kinds of those things. So I think there's a lot of the deduction is part of it. So
one other aspect of that too is the hidden information when you're placing your guys around prison is really funny because multiple turns. I know I was guilty of this, but I ended up overspending because I couldn't see what other people were putting down. And then the funny thing is like, and it's not a bad frustration; it's a good frustration. But like you flip those tiles and you're like, why did I put 9 points there when the other person had like 4? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then
but there's like other times when you think this is going to be enough, and like somebody else put in a ton, like and you're like
that one. He had that one over me that gave him that shield card, and that shield card. Granted, I was losing pretty hard because of my first turn anyway, or my first round anyway. But the shield card would have changed it where he definitely. It would have been closer with the 3 of you late game because the shield card gave you 6 points, Chris? Having the demon?
Yes.
The demon with the shield gives you 6 points. And had I had that card, it would have reversed and it would have changed a few of my strategies because then I would have been pushing.
You picked up some different things.
Right. More items I would have been pushing. I would have been pushing shield icon, because I stopped even caring about that after you got that demon, knowing that there was highly unlikely that there would be a trigger for me to invest to get off of all the shields I was collecting.
Right.
But yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to jump on that. Did you have anything else you want to say about it, Chris?
No, that was good.
So Chris Cornell, thoughts?
So there's a lot about this that I like. It's interesting. There's a lot to think about. And I completely messed up, which if I would have started done a little bit of set collecting, I probably would have sneaked out maybe a little bit ahead, Chris. But other than that, it was enjoyable. I had a lot of fun with this, and more so than I thought I was going to. It looked fun, but I didn't know if I was going to like this much in a game, So, but no, it was definitely on my list to buy, because it's something that I feel that I can teach my group to play, and I think that they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and so my take on it is that this is actually one thing that I like what Keith did with this, and I'll compare it to another game series I really like, and it's the King Domino series of games.
I like King Domino.
King Domino has the King Domino, which is like its base game. Then it ramped up to Queen Domino, and then they started adding like dragon expansions and things like that. What Keith has done here is sort of like he had role players his base game in a way, and then this is a little bit more involved, a little bit harder, a higher strategy game, but in the vein of role player. Like I had a lot of the same feelings I had when I played role player, but I had to think more, and so it ramped up. And I guess what I'm saying here is, I could bring role player to a group of gamers or even a group of people who aren't gamers and say, let's try this game. And that's like your intro into this universe. And then after they're acclimated to that game and say, hey, listen, do you want to step up the challenge a little bit? Let's go to Lockup.
Right.
And I think that's really nice. And it's a nice natural progression for an IP to have, because then it sort of not only... Then you can use an entire IP to sort of train your friends how to become better gamers. Right. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but so many times we talked about sitting at the dining room table or hanging out with friends and playing games, and your friends just don't get a game or they don't understand it and they get frustrated and they're out. Well, there's ways to train them to not be frustrated because there's other games that are like it, and when you can do that within your own IP. Cool. It's like this, but we've added this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing that like at least internally I struggled with for a while, and then I basically just said whatever, I don't care. Is that like role player is a pretty multiplayer solitaire game where everybody like the interaction. There's interaction in the center of the table, but like once it's in your area, nobody's messing with your stuff. This is a much more interactive game, and I think to me it makes it feel, definitely feels like a different type of game. But like we tried to make as many connections with the art and the iconography and like the terminology as we could to try to make you think about both games are connected in a variety of different ways. But some of the stuff that you guys pointed out, like I hadn't really thought about that much about like, hey, these when you get these goons, they've got a bottom part of the card, which is just like a trait card in role player. It's like, oh yeah, I guess it kind of is. To me, it's like the connection is like, I just like these two games. These are like the kind of games that I like. So these are the kind of games I like to make.
Well, but the thing is, you weren't the original designer, but I think development, some of your influences bled into it. Obviously within the IP and the lore system itself, but also within the mechanics. Because the goon cards are one thing, then the award cards are another thing, and it's that. I think it's that Keith stamp that you have your own stamp. You have an active strategy, during game, and then there's this whole other wave of strategy that hits you, and sometimes subtly, and sometimes you can plan for it, and there's a subtle wave that hits you at the end of the game, and then some mechanics. Based on however the game state came out. So like, for example, these cards, I'm sure there's a bunch of different cards and it changes the entire game. That's a Keith stamp right there. Late game scoring changes and like strategy changes. Cause like, for example, Chris wasn't just building the dwarfs to build the dwarfs for the set bonus. He also looked at that card and I wasn't even paying attention to it. So like he got a double whammy. He got the ramp for the dwarfs and he got the score for the award at the end.
It definitely has like a role player is the same thing where like there's there's a lot of like if you want to play well, you have to keep a lot of different like scoring opportunities in mind and choosing which one's the best at any given point. And that's tough to do, especially if you haven't played it a lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, you learn, and I got worse at role player the more I played it, because my mind started becoming too involved in the idea of a strategy. When, in all honesty, your strategy has to change on a whim, and it has to change. You can't go in saying, "Okay, I'm going to play, a dwarf with." This type of attitude and this type of
right, because then suddenly a card's not available at the right time, or someone bids you, or right. Dice rolls are crappy.
Exactly, and that's one thing I love. That just hit me. I had the same feeling, some same feelings of role, and there's no dice in this game.
Some people say like, how can this be a role player game because there's no dice in it? I was like, well, just play it.
But it still feels like it, because I think it's the hidden information on the placement is a part of it, because it doesn't give a natural randomness. It gives almost like this preternatural randomness, because you don't know what to expect. Even though it's a hard point system, that hidden information causes your mind to feel like it's random in a way. But yeah, I definitely I love it. Theme, as I love the theme of the player. And what kind of I didn't get to see the campaign recently. What kind of stretch goals did you add recently? Anything?
So there's 2 new goons that were added. They're not in this build. There's a bandit and a flayer.
Okay.
Oh. The flayer just gives you straight up points. He's just like, he's just worth 3 points. Sometimes, it's best to get the sure thing, Yep. That transmutation gem you were highlighting has a conversion where you can convert any resource into another resource. That's kind of somewhat unique. And then the other one is the bandit. So the way the bandit works is that you put him, when he gets put out on the board, right next to where the cube is that tells you to put a suspicion in the location. It also has a resource, so it actually dumps a resource in one of those locations. And it's like, hey, if that dwarf lands right next to the sewers and he's got the potion on him, then a potion lands in the sewers, and the person who is the highest in the sewers also gets the potion.
That's
so
cool.
It kind of it injects a couple more resources into the game.
Okay.
And then we're actually sometime, maybe it was during this play, we unlocked 4 new item cards.
Awesome.
One of them has 2 like barrel icons on it, which is a little unique, called the Dimensional Bag. And then the other ones are just there's a stabograph, which is like a like a pen with blood on it. And then there's I forget to remember what the other ones. There's the Codex machine, which is a cheap one that I think it's 1 gold in any other resource, and it lets you give a suspicion to somebody. And there's one other one, I can't think of it, but so those. And then we've got the new the upgraded card stock and finish. Okay. And then next up, I think, is the thicker player. All the tokens will be thicker.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got some. After I get off tonight, I'm gonna put up some more stretch goals, and there'll be some. I think it's like another set of tome cards. So there's like another. I want to say another 4 tome cards that'll come out.
Okay.
And then I think I've got kind of more of a lot of stuff, but then like there's on the horizon. The cool part, probably the piece that I'm most excited about is like this little mini expansion. Nobody's supposed to know this, but there's like a little mini expansion that it's cat's out of the bag.
First, folks.
It's here for it first. There we go.
Yeah, it's it allows like variable setup so that everybody doesn't start flat. So.
Oh, okay.
And there's a couple cool pieces there. So I didn't want to do player powers because I feel like there's enough to think about.
Right, there is.
But if the goblins start up in a little bit different position than the the insectoids. I think that's cool, and you can choose which side you want to play or whatever.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then
so I mean, overall exciting stuff with this game that you're the whole process.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm excited about it. I mean, I feel like it's one of those role players the same way. I feel like that's also one of the ones where like you're not sure if you're gonna like it until you play it. I mean, there's sometimes when I look at stuff on Kickstarter, I look at it, I'm like, I know exactly how that's gonna play. I played 5 games very similar to that. Either I'm into it or I'm not. And role player was kind of the same way. It's like trying to explain people why making a fantasy character in a board game is fun was challenging.
You have to be a fantasy person to know that. I truly agree.
Right. I mean, even so, like the original role player Kickstarter raised like $51,000, which is a success, and there's a lot of people that would be happy with that. But it wasn't like I didn't think I was gonna be able to like quit my job and do this full time.
Right.
On this game.
I think there's a lot of hidden back end stuff too. There's like a lot of hidden back stuff you deal with, like once you run a Kickstarter campaign. That like everybody sees 51,000. Like, oh my god, he's. But like God, the fees and all the headaches that go along with it, and all the help,
taxes, all kinds of stuff.
Right. And obviously it gave you the springboard you needed to do what you're doing now, but I'm sure it wasn't like this, I don't have to worry about money now,
No, I mean, it wasn't until like it wasn't until like a year later when I was working on like when the Monsters expansion hit, then it was like, okay, I'm on my 4th print run of the base game. I've got, this I'll be able to put in this big order for the expansion.
That's awesome.
The money is, I'm not like I had to borrow like $30,000 from a friend to do the 2nd print run of role player. Like,
really,
the money just wasn't there. Mainly because like there's such a delay. So it's like,
correct.
I sell my games. They go into a consolidator, which sells to distribution, which sells to retail, which sells to consumers. And when I get, a certain percentage, and everybody else gets percentages as well. But the hard part is that there's a time delay. So it's like, once the distributor gets it, then they get like 30 days to pay my guy, and he might get 30 days to pay me. So
you're on the backside of that trickle. Like you're the one that made it, but you're waiting through all these layers to get paid on the back end.
Right. So it's like the first print run, it was out like the second it hit the warehouse, because I didn't print that many because I didn't have a whole lot of money, and the Kickstarter didn't do amazing.
Right.
And my guy's like, I need more copies like right now. I was like, well, you're not going to pay me for like 60 days, and then it's going to take 6 months for me to get more copies. And what am I supposed to do? And I don't even know if the demand will still be there. So I basically said, my buddy gave me a $30,000 loan to make the 2nd print run. And then as soon as those came in and hit the warehouse, they were gone. And they're like, we need more. Like, dude. So by then, like, the money was starting from the first print run was starting to come through, and everything was in better shape. But for about the first year after Role Player came out, I was struggling to keep it in print, which is an awesome problem to have. But it breaks my heart when like people want to buy your game and they can't find it.
Yeah. Yep. And I didn't realize the pain point on that end of it, on that end of the process, is that you think again mentally when you're like, oh, my game is made. In a way I've made it. And then you're hit with these challenges because like, my game's made, but now to get it in more hands and more people to enjoy it, there's a whole other bump to get over. And if I don't react in time, the hotness of it or what's drawing people to it as a newer game could fade, and then I'm stuck. Then
you got to pay to store cardboard in a warehouse, or you throw them in a river or something. Like
it's true. It's true. Yeah. And I mean, is this? Would you say this is more of the plight of the independent public publisher / designer, or is this the plight of the entire industry?
I mean, just trying to figure out how many to print is just, that's a publisher problem, no matter how big or how small you are. Having the capital to print the size you want to print is more of a plight of the small guy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, important message for people that watch this or watch the VOD is they ask, oh, I mean, this is so expensive for a Kickstarter item, or is this worth it? Like, this is what's you're when you run a Kickstarter or when you support a Kickstarter campaign, you're not only supporting the product you're buying, you're also supporting the person creating that. And and if you really like it, if you like what they make, then through support on Kickstarter, you're going to enable them to take the next step and continue to make cool things that you're going to most likely like. so that's
one thing on that. Just Kickstarter specifically. So something to put out there. Kickstarter specifically says that it is store, so you got to make sure that we're buying things. Yeah,
right.
Because they're not buying; they're investing in a.
That's true, and that's really what it is. That's what and I guess that's the point I was trying to make. You're investing in the idea that they have what they're producing, and you're likely to get along the way final product. But
I think like some people different people use it more, more for like maybe what it's supposed to be for, and more people, don't.
We can really get into that, but let's not like trigger me on that tonight, because that is a place where
I would like to think that like what I'm doing is like in the spirit of what Kickstarter was created for.
And I would give you a virtual high five for that and agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think sort of tally up the people we know that don't use them in a way that you would expect. We'll keep that. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the pledge manager?
So first thing I'll do is congratulations to Eric the Great for winning the month of Tabletopia Gold, and we'll get that to you through Discord. And the second question, I'm sorry, could somebody, Chris Walters, could you repeat that?
Yeah, you will be able to. I mean, right now, like,
so it's on video. Sorry. So will you be able to pre-order, or will you be able to order from the pledge manager of Lockup?
Right. So in the pledge manager for Lockup, you'll be able to order a copy of Role Player or Monsters and Minions or any of my other like tchotchkes that I have, like the custom insert and the whatever. I've got all the stuff,
Tchotchkes. I love that's how you refer to
it. Which I love that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like Role Player and the expansion are pretty readily available right now.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like having to wait for that print run to come through and then everything getting shipped at the same time, next summer, I would say just go buy those games now at your local game store or online store and just play them now. But if they're unavailable in your country, or you would rather, you're happy to wait, it'll be available in the pledge manager, but it's not going to be like an amazing price. It's like.
So summary: buy it now. So the lag time, he gets his money like in a year from now. So come on, guys, let's support.
There's, it's interesting, like whether pricing is a tricky thing.
Yes,
but I'm happy to dig into it. But it sounds like you guys are feeling like
no. I mean, I'm fine with it. You guys, I mean, I would love. Stick around with that.
Yeah, pricing is tricky because like I have my MSRP, which is like basically what the price it needs to be to make sense for everybody along the chain to make money and me make money.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like you've got your online retailers like Cool Stuff or Miniature Market that like they say we don't care about how much money we make. We're going to make like very little, but we're going to deal in volume. And so that's where consumers go to buy their games, and they get them for this amazing price.
Yep.
Because usually a retailer buys a game at 50% off, right? So my $60 game, the retailer bought it for $30.
Roughly, yeah.
So that's when Miniature Market sells it for $36 instead of for $60. They're making a little bit of money, and then the brick and mortar guys are like, I've got lights and employees to deal with, and like all these other random things that they don't deal in such volume, so it's harder for them to make it work.
Right.
So when it comes to like pricing on my website, I sell games and stuff on my website, and I never have a lot of. I enjoy my local game store, and I have a lot of respect for what they do. And there's something about eroding the perception of value of your own product. So, like, if I say, okay, I'm gonna have my $60 game on my website, and I'm gonna sell it for $55. Now the retailers and everybody else is like, well, now the new price is $55, so everybody's got to sell that. So now, like, I'm making less money, and it's just like things go bad,
and you're trying
to make more games, and everything goes bad. So it's like I have to pretty much price at after the game's released. I always price it at MSRP.
Right.
I'm thinking about maybe I'll do a Black Friday sale or something, but except at conventions or something.
Yeah.
I always price it at MSRP. So, yeah, Role Player is going to be in the Pledge Manager, and you can pick it up, but it's not going to be at an amazing price. Yeah, if you're looking for that, I would just go to Cool Stuff or whatever.
And there's no way to really fix that because they have their own pricing model. They have their way to do what they're doing, and it's double-edged in that you're getting hurt. Like you're getting more exposure from a place like that, like Miniature Market, Cool Stuff. But it's also undercutting, some of your strong supporters and on the storefront side.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's like that's what the minimum advertised price stuff was all about, Asmodeus, and everybody was trying to push that on those guys so that they wouldn't discount their games so much.
Right.
And then there's other guys like that don't sell into distribution. They only sell on Amazon. So like, that's how Cards versus Humanity that's how that got. Like, those guys made a ton of money because all they did was say, we're Amazon exclusive. We dictate what the price is. Nobody can undercut what we're selling it at. And then they controlled what their game was priced at. And
but I mean, to be fair, like they had, their original set was maybe 100, 200 cards. The overhead for that wasn't something you're looking at for, what in a game that like a highly produced. And I think that the thing that hurt them in the long run is the theme of that game. I mean, some people still play it, but if you're,
I think a lot of people still play that game.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're hurting at all.
No, you think it's still rolling for them?
That's
yeah.
I have every single expansion to it, and that's all people want to play when I go over.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I specifically leave it at home because I'm tired of playing it, but I'll still get it on the table.
Right.
Got it.
It's like, you're like, Will, you're talking from the perspective of somebody that's on Board Game Geek. And that's such a small percentage of people that buy games in this world.
That's true. And also, I mean, I'm a stay-at-home dad, so I'm not exposed to the general public as much as I used to be. And it's funny because it's like this vacuum that sort of happens in your life when you're a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can't really pull the people as much unless I'm doing it on Twitter and Facebook, and that isn't really a great place to do that either.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the people that play Cards Against Humanity are people. A lot of them don't play, strategy board games in general. So
yeah, you're right.
It's like they've got Monopoly and they've got Cards Against Humanity.
It's true. That's very, very true. So yeah, I think with that we'll wrap it for tonight. Keith, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. It was awesome spending time with you and getting to pick your brain.
Good having you on again.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I had fun.
I mean,
even though I got third place.
As always,
last.
You're always welcome back to join us. Always welcome back to join us.
We should talk at the end of October. We can do Skull Hollow.
Yeah, yep. High fives there, and also times with you to Unplugged. Then we can sit down and Unplugged, and we can have some equipment with us if you want to do that.
Yeah, and I'll have prototypes of this and of Skull Hollow with me if you guys want to.
Perfect.
Play those.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to sign off for the night. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will catch you next Wednesday on Table Crashers. Thank you guys very much. if you guys have any questions about how we like the game, join us on Discord and we can carry on the conversation. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next Wednesday on Table Crashers.
Bye.
Good morning, everybody.